Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another show of the Pop Cultures Gamers podcast. It's show number 89, and I am here today with Alan. Hello, Alan. Long time no speak. How are you doing?
Hey Hayden, how are you? Firstly, apologies. Um, just been busy,
Yeah,
basically work as we've been communicating. Even my messaging to you and Steve are back and forwards. I haven't really been on that much since we've gone back pretty much full time. It's been non-stop work, 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 7 days a week, long hours. So I hope I can bring a small bit to the podcast tonight, but I haven't played or watched pretty a lot of stuff, just one or two things when I got a chance.
yeah.
So that's it. But cheers, I appreciate as always you and Steve keeping the show going. And I could listen to the podcast when I was at work as well, so that was nice.
Mm.
So some good stuff there. Glad I could be back. Hopefully I can try and get back into a more weekly schedule now again. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good.
And you, how you been since we chatted last?
Yeah, been pretty much the same. Not that much has happened. Although last week was a little bit up and down, as it were. So, I had a couple of things going on. And anyway, I ended up feeling ill on Thursday and Friday.
That's right. I was chatting to you about it. You were fairly sick now by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it was one of those strange things. I got up, had a shower, was just getting ready to go to work, which from where I have the shower consists of 1.5 meters of travel to my desk, because I've got my man cave is an ensuite.
Oh, very posh.
Yeah, so I literally have a shower about 1.5 meters, 2 meters away from where I'm sat now. So that's my morning commute. Anyway, I came out the shower, got myself dressed, and I just thought, oh my God, I feel sick. And I was just ended up retching for ages.
Oh God.
And I had a raised temperature, I had a headache, I had pain in my joints, and all of this, that, and the other. Now, anybody who's looked at the COVID
not far off.
stuff, it's not far off. And a matter of fact, obviously, the raised temperature is one of the major ones.
Yeah.
But on the secondary sort of ones, I had like 4 or 5 out of the 7 or 8 symptoms. Excuse me. So I ended up, I took, I didn't work that day. And, just felt absolutely dreadful. And it got up to about, as a matter of fact, it must have been about 3:30.
Yeah.
And my wife was, had said a couple of times, do you think you might have COVID? And I said, don't be daft. I haven't been anywhere. I work at home. I go, the only place I go to is a supermarket. And, the government's saying, it's supposed to be like 15 minutes concentrated. And then I thought, oh, hang on a minute though. But we went to a coffee shop. And we were distanced from everybody else, but we did go to a coffee shop. And, we saw them clean the area and all of this, that, and the other before we sat down. But I thought, could that be it? So anyway, I ended up having a look on a track and trace website for the government.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was, went through the list of symptoms, ticking them off. So it said, obviously self-isolate and get your test done to see if you have actually got it. So I thought, right, well, okay. So I looked on the timings, and the next day there was one in Northallerton, a test centre. So I thought, right, okay, I'll get myself booked in on there, and that's all right. But I thought, I don't think I've got it, but whatever. Anyway, it wouldn't let me book on Northallerton. I don't know whether or not it was full up or whatever.
Okay.
But it just said, right, you've got to go to Middlesbrough, which is sort of like 26 miles away for me.
Okay.
So I had to go to, and also I had to go that day. I couldn't go tomorrow, as it were. I had to go on the day that I was booking it on. And the first option that they gave me was, it's like 3:30. When it was 3:30, I was looking at it. So, unless I could, beam myself there, like in Star Trek, there was no hope of me getting to Middlesbrough in 30 minutes to meet that appointment. So I ended up booking it for later on in the evening, and it was about, I think we thought, right, they've got loads of spaces in terms of when we can book. Let's just play it safe. Because there was a couple of things we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Have food, stuff like that, because it was, they thought we'd all go, because it said if there's anybody else in your house, you can get them tested too. So, right, okay, so book my son on, book my wife on. And,
okay, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, because if there's one person suspected and, you're in a household.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we all went down and, got booked in, and we went for 6:30 or 7 o'clock. No, 6:30, 7 o'clock, can't remember, doesn't matter. But so we went down, and first off, I'll say it was amazingly well the way that they've got this sort of sorted out. It's in a car park.
Yeah.
And you drive in, and it's all coned where you turn round and stuff like this.
Okay.
My wife's already saying, "Oh my God, I'm really glad that you're driving, because I wouldn't want to have driven around all these cones." It kind of felt a bit like a driving proficiency test.
Yeah.
But you drive round, and then you have to keep your windows up, and they talk to you, and they've got masks on, stuff like that. The one thing is, it's a bit hard to hear because they're shouting through the window.
Yeah.
But you get yourself ticked off because when you register, you actually get a QR code,
right.
and you show that, or they can take it off your vehicle registration number, because you've also got to give that for when you're driving there.
Okay.
But we received 2 out of the 3 QR codes. We didn't get one for my son, but he was registered, so they just took that from the VRM. And then you go through, and then they give you all of the equipment to do, and you have the option of either having it done yourself or having it done by somebody else. I thought, well, I don't want somebody else poking.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it either.
Yeah. So I thought, we'll do it ourselves. So they give us these 3 pieces of kit that tell us exactly what to do, which basically involves checking that all the barcodes are the same, and then you get a swab and you take it off the back left and back right of your mouth, not touching your teeth, and then off your tonsils, and then with the same swab you stick it up your nose and give it a bit of a swish round.
Yeah, that's what I wouldn't like.
Yeah, to be honest, it's not that bad because you're doing it yourself anyway. Yeah. So, and then you break the stick in half, put it in this little test tube with that seals, and put it in a bag. And then they take that, after, because they've got all of your details and know which barcodes for which person. And then they said they would let you know within 24 to 48 hours. So I thought,
it's
right.
Quite fast.
Yeah, it is quite fast. Apart from the fact that we knew at 8 o'clock in the next morning.
Wow.
So,
but I suppose the number of tests might be going down. You know what I mean? People going for the tests compared to at the highest point, maybe.
Well, I think also they'll be improving the way that the tests work, all of the time, won't they?
They probably have it really streamlined as well, I guess.
But with, the amount of people who are still being tested, you've got to hand it to. I'm not a fan of the Conservative government at all. But in terms of it, I think that it was really, really well sorted. Anyway, the upshot of it is I don't have coronavirus. I must have just had a virus. I think it was like tonsillitis sort of thing. So because we had confirmed, we don't have to self-isolate them because the rest of the family also didn't have it either.
Oh, okay.
So that was a bit of a relief. So
of course, yeah.
Yeah, because my wife was a bit worried. I was sort of like, don't be daft, I haven't got coronavirus.
But it's funny as well. I don't know what it's like over in England, but here in Ireland, it's kind of become a bit of a stigma. To get it, to have the virus, and you're the reason now the numbers are going up again because you weren't being careful. I don't know how that is. It the same over as it is here?
I kind of, I think it is. I think if people
get embarrassed that you have it,
I think it's probably probably is a little bit like that. I mean, I don't think it's quite the shame that was on Game of Thrones sort of thing, but it feels a little bit like that.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like I work my place now. Like if someone gets sick, you have to close down, or you go 2 weeks off and something. You don't want to be the person that
Yeah.
that does that, you know.
But the thing is, all it takes is the wrong person to sort of like cough at you, and you could catch it.
Mm.
Just you might have done everything that you can, but there's always environmental issues which you're not going to have control of. So it's one of those things, though. But I was relieved that I didn't have it. That was the main thing, and it was
Yeah.
confirmed. So it's always good, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Well, I was glad to hear you're okay because you know I was
yeah,
very concerned about you, Hayden.
yeah. No, I was.
I
But
was telling
thank you.
I was telling you drink water and eat dry toast. That's as much help as I was giving you.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I'm in terms of tonsillitis, I'm used to having tonsillitis, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's what it was
Oh, you
because.
never had them out as a kid or anything, no?
Oh no, the doctors refused to, so it's caused
Oh.
me loads of problems as an adult.
Yeah, it's very painful as an adult. It's very dangerous as an adult.
Well, in a matter of fact, not a lot of people realise, but you can actually, it can be terminal.
Yeah, I
Um,
know that. Yeah.
very few people actually realise. I think, oh, tonsillitis, it's a kid's illness, but I was actually that bad once. This was probably about it, wow, I'm trying to think. Adam was really young. It must have been about 10 years ago. And Jane had a party going on downstairs. One of these sort of, the sort of things where they get some. It was to buy candles. A
Yeah.
candle party where, they get a load of the friends in, and then somebody tries to sell them stuff.
Yeah. Tupperware
Uh,
party.
yeah, that sort of stuff. So she was having one of those, and she'd invited my mum over, and it was women only. So me and my dad and my son were all upstairs in, you know, Jane, my bedroom, and I was feeling like really ill, and then I started shivering with
Oh.
it and stuff like that, and I had a really bad night.
Yeah.
And anyway, I had to be rushed into hospital and intravenously given antibiotics
Yeah.
because I was so bad with this tonsillitis. It was absolutely awful. I don't remember anything for about 2 or 3 days around
Oh,
that.
that's serious enough. I'm surprised they didn't take it out when you were a kid. Usually they take them out with any sign of, especially here now, they do it here, right? They take it out. Any sign of tonsillitis or pain,
Yeah, no,
and then you get ice cream for a couple of weeks. Slowly.
yeah, I know. I would have liked that. I'd have gone for the ice cream for a couple of weeks, but they weren't up. They weren't up for it. They never have. I've asked my doctor as an adult if I could have them out, and she wouldn't do it. The every time I've been to the doctor, the NHS viewer seems to have been you're better off with them in, even though they cause problems. I mean, my tonsils look like the surface of the moon. There's so many craters in there
Yeah,
because of the amount of times that I've had, the amount of scarring tissue that are on my tonsils, that's horrible. But I've had tonsillitis probably about 20, 30 times in my life.
It's quite dangerous to get them out as well as you get older. Like,
Yeah,
it's like getting chicken pox when you're older if you hadn't got it as a kid and stuff. It's funny how that works.
It is.
Come shingles and it can be quite serious, you know.
Yeah. Well, chickenpox in adults is shingles, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's really severe.
yeah.
That's why they have the I don't know if you do it over. We do it here. The chickenpox parties when the kids are babies, just to get our kids, just get them done early.
Yeah. Deliberately make them ill.
Like they're doing in America with the COVID parties. That's not really working out too well for them, unfortunately.
Well, it's thinning the herd a little bit, isn't it?
That's one way of saying it, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, how many? The amount of deaths in America, it's frightening.
Frightening, and it's like they've just brushed it aside now. It's just part of it. 70,000 cases every day. Like, we're worried about 24 cases a day over here. Like, it's I know it's a bigger country and all that, but that's still scary times over there, I'd say.
Oh, definitely. It's unbelievable what's happening.
Yeah. But look, it's good to see you survived it anyway.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I didn't have it, because it's meant that today, because I've been off today and I'm off tomorrow, but what it's meant is that today we've been able to, confirming that we don't have it, meant that we could actually leave the house again. Yeah. So we've been up on Sutton Bank, up on top of the moors,
Yeah, I saw your
looking
pictures, great pictures of you and your wife and your son.
yeah,
Really,
look,
it was lovely.
yeah, we did about a 3 or 4 mile walk up there, just around the glider club that's up there. But it's got
Oh,
some of the
cool.
most beautiful, scenery up there in England, to be honest.
And
But
did you find when you were out? I remember when I kind of went out like that, like kind of outside my 2 kilometer 420. George, we kind of spread out. Everything seemed greener, and like because it'd been so long. I don't
yeah,
know that I don't know if that just kind of I was just so happy to be out there, but it just seemed more lush and green. I don't know why. It
yeah,
was funny.
yeah. But no, I mean, if you ever come to North Yorkshire,
One day,
I'll
hopefully,
I'll
definitely.
take you up there, and then you'll be able to see it because it is a stunning, stunning views.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. The
you
pictures
are
I saw
high up.
lovely pictures now of you. You look great. Your son is the head off you, unfortunately.
He's what? Sorry,
Your son, well, he's the head off you. He looks just like you.
does he?
Yeah, unfortunately, we said that the head off you means that he looks just like you. Sorry, that could be Irish slang.
uh,
Sorry.
we say he's a spit of you.
Yeah, we say the head because you could swap heads with the head off you. So
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I was looking
No.
at the pictures. I don't see your wife at all in a minute.
Yeah. Our yeah. We say spitting image. That's what
Okay.
or the spit of you. So it's yeah. No. He's actually a very good blend personality wise with Jane
Oh,
and me.
that's good.
So he's more of I'm a very sort of serious person most of the time,
Mm.
apart from my dad jokes. Whereas Jane's, I'd be the one going to a party. I'd be sort of like at the back of the room talking to a rubber plant, and my wife would be in the middle of the party, sort of thing.
Same to myself, so
Yeah, and
I'll do.
he takes more after her like that.
That's good.
Mm. So anyway, you've been running.
Yeah, so just to try and make, oh, well, I hope it's going to be interesting for the podcast, lads.
Sure, it will.
I do racing, as you know, I do my ultra running and I do a couple of mountain runs and stuff, and I usually do kind of a race report for myself, just for memories and stuff, And so this weekend, very, very late kind of decision, the first race since February had got the go ahead by IMRA. It's the Irish Mountain Running Association here in Ireland, and it's the Reeks Skyline. So my friend Tina was running it, and it's a very, very technical race. Like, it's up there as one of the hardest, definitely the hardest in Ireland, and definitely up there in Europe as one of the most difficult for navigation alone, because of the 6 or 7 peaks you go over. You actually need to write a little essay and a bit of information about your technical skills and everything, just to get a pre-entry and then get approval to apply for it. But I was lucky enough; I'm kind of known, so I got in on this Saturday. Took the morning off work to do it, which was difficult in itself. But anyway, I went into it tired. So look, we started at about quarter. I have to say, no, it's the first race, so there was a lot of pressure on Rob. He's the guy who organises it. It's the first kind of race where social distancing was taken into account in all the regulations and rules that you have to apply for over here. Before, you kind of all just met and everybody chatted and mingled and inside the tents, and you collected all your information, your numbers, all the usual stuff. But this time now, there was like a big queue. You had to wear a mask, a buff the whole time you were in the area. You went through the tent. You had to get like a temperature check kind of style. You went through the checkpoint, and then you came through the other side of the tent, and there was a big open field, and everybody had their own place to start. So at about 10:15, we all kind of were in the field ready to go. Rob, the guy who organised it, he gave his rundown. And his first thing, which kind of scared a few people, was he said, "Lads, take it easy by the big gun." The big gun is the first big climb. It's up about 1,000 meters. And if you get injured up there, it's actually one of the most difficult places to get down, as it's quite slippy and a lot of scrambles. You'd actually require a helicopter, or if not helicopter, probably a body bag, he said, to get you back off the top of it. So be careful.
Nothing
So of
like a
course,
motivational speech then.
well, it's funny to show. It goes to show how, like, there was 100. We're going to do this race was the official number, but 56, I think, of us turned up. and I think 40 finished. So like most people would have kind of gone, oh God, no, and that sounds scary. But out of the 50 people there, all 50 people left, because that's just the mentality. Like, but it
You're
was
all
good.
hardcore runners, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I suppose like there's definitely a sense of adrenaline and that lack of. You have to have that bit of fear missing in the back of your head for some of the stuff. As I go through that now, you'll see some of the clips of the ridges we went up. So look, at 11 o'clock then we were off, right? So you had to you had to wear a buff for the first 200 meters to 300 meters. It actually was more like 800 meters up the track when you take your first turn into the first mountain up the Big Gun. Now, what was interesting at this stage was usually people go off fast at these races at the start to get kind of a line for the track you're taking, because you can take different directions up the first climb. You can take different fast routes, easier routes to save energy. But you could hear everybody heavy breathing around you, really heavy because of the buff. And you got so warm so quick with the buff was on that even Tina, who I was running with, she got very dizzy very quickly. She's 54, but she's a fantastic runner. Like she won the over 50s now, and then she was second woman home and under the day. Like, so that was interesting. First time ever kind of doing that. I like had a buff on in cold conditions and stuff, but never running at that speed. So it kind of so you take 800 meters.
When you're saying a buff, you mean a face mask?
Well, no, it's a buff. It's like a running buff. You can, a lot of ultra runners, you kind of get them as part of your running packs, or I've got about 30 buffs here. It's like a hairband, but you can wear it on your head. It can cover your whole face. It's like a ski mask, a ski buff. We call them buffs. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah, I know the ones you mean. It's.
I think guys on motorbikes wear them as well. They're very light material, but like you can shape it to cover like most of your face in cold conditions, over your ears, over hats. They're really great items.
Yeah,
around your wrists for rubbing off sweat, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the neck gaiters, aren't they?
Yeah, something like that. But these are like they have wicking ones and they have all kinds of style. I've got loads of them, so you had to wear them. Like I'll send you a picture. I wore one today. That's what I've been wearing going around shops and stuff now. It looks like I'm going in to rob the place where they're going shopping, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So like, okay, so we started off at 11 o'clock and we headed up the track and we turned to our left, and that's the first climb. There was like 6 or 7 runners behind me that stage and a couple in front. So I decided to take the more direct route, which you had to go through marsh, straight up, over 2 river crossings, and then you just go straight up, where maybe half the runners went up the right. They took the ridge to the right, avoided all that, but they had a longer route. So again, like I said, it's all about how you want to run the race. The funny thing was Brian, who won the race, he was already half up the mountain, half is up by the time he got to the bottom. Like he's a phenomenal runner. He's our Ireland champion for this event. Like, so 20 minutes later, we kind of heavy breathing and sweating and ball busting. We got up the slope. All these names aren't Irish, so I apologize, lads, if you don't understand. Up slope of Crockmore, which is the Big Gun, and I'm going to be a bit blunt. This is no easy way. It's a bastard of a climb. It actually gets steeper the more you go up. You do like 1,000 meters in the first kilometer straight up, and then the rocks get really slippy about 3/4 the way up. So I got up there in about 1 hour and 5 up over Crockmore, and you head towards the Grotto at the highest point. And then you meet Brian Buckley, a friend of mine, who was taking pictures and stuff, and of runners who are already sitting down in ferries. There was a couple of guys who went way too hard at the start. Now you're coming to one of the most technical sections then after passing Crockmore. It's called the Big Gun Ridge, and I have to say now here they had 3 marshals, which is it's unusual to have that many marshals, but I think today was quite. That day, Saturday was very cloudy, so they had the marshals just to make sure you can get turned around the mountains very quick. But it is very chaotic up there. There's many different paths you can take, and end up actually going back the way you came without even knowing it, But yeah, I was happy enough. I took the most direct route and the most challenging route. We went straight over the top. So then we kind of got to the highest point of past the big gun. I'm trying to remember now here in my notes. And this then was really slick rocks where you have to hold on. This here now they tell you to put on some gloves because you're doing a lot of scrambling. It's what's called. You hold on to like these sharp rocks, like up at the highest point of the mountain, and you're like scrambling across. It's about 500-600 feet straight down to the abyss either side. So you really have to know your route and be confident because the funny thing was that I actually heard a couple. It's funny how voices travel in the mountains as well. I actually heard a couple of lads at the bottom that were effing and blinding because they actually went the wrong route and they'd gone actually back down the other side of the mountain. They just come up. It was so misty up there. So as we got over the top of Big Gun, the ridge, the marshals give you the thumbs up to say, yeah, you're over that side of it. And then it's kind of squeaky bum. You kind of go over the top of another pat in, which is a Knocknapishta. Though the braver types here, the guys who actually win the race, would go right over the top. It's like a 90-degree. It's like a triangle. You can barely fit your foot. You're hanging on for dear life. They go straight over the top of it at full speed. And then people like me who are a little bit more cautious, I kind of went down to the right and around it just to be safe. 'Cause I knew it was going to be a long day ahead, and it's been so long since I've been up there, and it was kind of such a last minute race. I decided to take a tiny bit of caution. And then you come off the ridge on the other side. That's the most technical part. And then you kind of trot. You have a lovely pat in all along the top of the ridge of the mountain. And the path goes, it kind of goes down, it goes down pretty steep, pretty fast, so you can kind of get a bit of pace going again, a nice 5-minute miles and stuff, even though you're still up at 800 meters. So then after the descent down, then you're charging past, then you're going back up and around, and you go down towards Devil's Ladder, it's called, which is the most touristy. It's where all the tourists go up. It's where you see hundreds and hundreds of people come up that way. It's called a Devil's Ladder, and then you go across the back of that, and then you hit the base of Ireland's biggest mountain after climbing 2 big mountains already, and that's up to the top of Carrauntoohil. And it's here that it always makes me laugh because when I got we have a pair of shorts, a t-shirt, and a backpack on, like a little skin tight backpack with a bit of food and water in it. But you're passing people who have like Everest style equipment on their bodies with hiking poles and crampons, and they're all climbing up Carrauntoohil. And it makes me laugh sometimes, and they kind of look at you with these eyes as you're hands on knees and you're powering up the climb for 800 meters straight up. So then you get to the top of Ireland, which is just one of my favorite places in the world. I've spoken to you before, but I love, and you've probably seen my pictures.
Yeah.
The cross is up there, and you go around the cross, and then you head to your left, and you go onto Cahir Ridge. And this is just an amazing. So what happens now? You're going to go onto Cahir Ridge, and you're going to do a full loop on the McCulley Reeks. So you do like a full circle, and you actually end up back in the cross again. But you stay up at nearly 1,000 meters for the whole lot of it. So it's really technical, but it was here the sun started to come out, and it was fantastic. Like, it was so nice to be up there. And I was doing good, middle of the pack. Tina was doing really well. We were kind of doing more smart and safe rather than fast and dangerous, I think, because like she's a good runner, but she's still 54. Like, so I wanted to make sure I got her around navigation wise, which we got spot on. We were one of the few that didn't get lost at all. So the thing about this is you get down off Cahir really fast. Like, it takes you an hour to get up to Carrauntoohil, but it only takes you 20 minutes to get down to the base, the lowest point again it's called Hydra Road. You go right down the ridge, you go straight down through all kind of marsh and scree, it's called. It's all this kind of branches and trees and everything, and you really, like, you're going super fast, and you, like, if you fall, you just roll with it. You don't try and stop yourself. You take some big tumble, you're up to your knees in muck and bog, and your shoes are coming off, and you really have to be good picking your lines through it. Yeah. So you go right down to the bottom, and you literally cross the Hydra Road, it's called. It's like a small little dam. and you can drink the water out of that. So most people kind of lie in it, fill up their backpacks, and then you literally cross over that river, and then straight ahead of you is Scregmore, and it's absolutely frightening to see it. It literally, you just cross the river, and just, can you imagine, you cross a road and in front of you is a house, and that's basically what that mountain is. It's just in front of you, and it goes straight up. So you're like, oh my God, it's going to take me hours to get up this. And this knows where I got in trouble with sunburn.
Right.
Because I had my t-shirt on and I took off some other bit of gear, and my sleeves of my t-shirts rolled up because of the bag. So I hadn't sunburned. I hadn't put sun cream on the back of my arms.
Right.
So I had the sun on my, and I'm suffering yesterday and today now over it big time, because us gingers, it's the curse of fair skin.
Yes.
But it was good. That took an hour to go from the base of that to the top. And at the very top of that, I think every single person cursed, because Tina's husband, Pat, he was actually marshalling at the top of that. So he did, I might send it to you, he did a video of all the runners coming up to the high point.
Mm-hmm.
A 12-minute video is really good. Now, here is the very interesting part at the top of, that's actually at the top of Scregmore, then you go across to Bincura. These are all Irish names, sorry, no lads. Any Irish guys listening, they know what I'm on about. Bincura, anyway, is the second highest mountain, one of the second highest mountains in Ireland. And it's a very interesting mountain because you literally go up, the track you come up, when you get to the top, you think you have to kind of go straight on because that's what the mountain looks like. You think you get to the top and then you keep going straight because there's a bit of a ridge. But the interesting thing is you actually go around the top of it, you actually take 180 degrees and it looks like you're going back down the same route you came up. So it's very disorientating. But actually, once you go back down that ridge, you swing around and then you're on the most open part of the entire race. It's the Bincura Ridge that will take you across to Father Rocher's Ridge.
Yeah.
It's only about a kilometre. Well, that sounds a bit arrogant. It's a kilometre, but it's a kilometre of the most. I mean, I actually slipped at about halfway across, and only for me catching a rock, I was definitely down 50, 60 meters. I was in trouble. Like, you can only fit 1 foot on some of the track. So if you're running on it, you really, like, we were doing 8-9 minute miles on top of it, like, Yeah. So you kind of have to have a bit of comfort on it. But I took a few gels up there with caffeine in them because I could feel my eyes were going a bit blurry from dehydration.
Yeah.
So I took some gels and I took a salt tablet. I got these lovely orange salt tablets, so I ate that. So I got across that set. Now, we actually passed a few people going, and I was delighted because Tina was moving really well. We were scrambling really well. We were kind of taking some chances. And then I was really hungry, so I wanted to get a bar, but I had packed the bar, which was a real rookie mistake, which I hadn't done for a while. I hadn't done a race while. I actually packed my bars underneath all my rain gear in my backpack. So to get it out up on top of the mountain, it was just too risky because, a gust of wind would take you off it, and so I said, I was starving, but I said, wait, so I kind of shouted in temper. And I got a bit angry at myself for making it such a rookie mistake. But, I hadn't done it for a while. So, no, then you come off O'Shea's and then you have to summit Ireland's highest mountain again for the second time. So the full race is 24 kilometers with 3,000 meters, which is about 1,000 meters is 3,000 feet. So it's about 10 to 12,000 feet in 24 kilometers of ascent and descent. So it's just, it's relentless. Like, my legs were in agony. So I got back up to the top of Carrauntoohil, and then you go down the zigzags again towards Devil's Ladder. Now, I was delighted here because I said, right here, even though there was about 300 or 400 people coming up it because it's a tourist way up, you can take the zigzag route down, or you can be brave and literally go straight down it and just take a chance. So I looked at Tina and I said, Tina, it's going to take us a half an hour or it's going to take us 12 minutes. You decide. And she looked, Alan, you go, I'll try and stick with you. So I said goodbye to Joe Leary, who was the marshal at the top of it. He was on the Bones. It's called the Bones at the top as well. There's a section called the Bones, and he was marshalling there. And I said, right, so follow me, and literally dug the heels in, and we ran straight down as fast as we could, and it took us just over 11 minutes from the top of Ireland's highest mountain to the base of it. And she vomited at the bottom of it. She couldn't handle it. So that was it then. That was all the climbs done. We went back up. Then you literally go down the other side of Devil's Ladder. There's another zigzag, and then it's a 1 mile run straight to the finish. And we finished really fast. So she ended up winning the over 50s. She ended up as second woman home, and she ended up as second over 50 home. So she won 3 prizes, nearly about 500 euros worth of stuff. So she was delighted, and it was nice for me to get out and get a run in. And yeah, it was nice. My first time doing that course as a race. I've done it alright as training runs, but I think I could have gone probably an hour or 2 hours faster if I'd gone on my own. So I'm going back next Monday. So what day is today? Monday.
Yeah.
So next Monday or Tuesday on my own, I'm going to go and do the exact sort of course again on my own and see how long it takes me on my own. So I hope that wasn't too boring. It's my kind of race report.
Well, no, I mean, because we've got a lot of listeners who love running and that, and I just think it's fascinating how you put yourself through that. I mean, I feel exhausted just listening to you.
Yeah, it was nice to be out there again. As I said to you, it's strange. I was wondering how it would, because when you're running, you're spraying a lot of sweat and salivas, and there's all that stuff going on with COVID, and you wonder how that. But the interesting thing is you don't really, after the first kilometer, you're so spread out. You only see people at a distance in front of you, behind you, or if they're going past you really fast sections. That's about it.
Yeah, because before you explained it, because to me, if it's a race, the way that you're explaining it, it's like very open. Whereas to me, a race is, there is a predefined course. And I'm sort of like thinking like the London Marathon where it's down streets or whatever. So you would not stray off or go in different directions or anything like that. And I was expecting it before you started explaining it to be like that, because I was thinking, well, surely, depending upon I don't know how far is your social distancing measure now? Is it 1 meter?
No, 2 meters still.
So, because I was thinking, if you were racing in that sort of situation and you were in the front and you wanted to win, all you need to do is run in the middle of the course, so no one would be able to socially distance past you, would they?
Yeah.
But obviously, that's not what it's like in terms of the race that you're doing.
No, these skyline races is all about it's a massive navigational. If you're smart and slow, you could still finish in top 10, top 5 in races.
Yeah.
Like a lot of top boys, literally, they would go straight through anything. Like literally, like the most treacherous route they could get, they'll take it if it's quicker. Like there was one section where we were coming down. You could go around the pass to the right, this big ridge section, or you could literally hang off to the left, slide down it, climb down it, and then you're on to a quicker route that would save you 15 minutes. So in my eyes, the quicker routes, we those kind of routes we took quicker. If you're confident in yourself, but it gets the heart pounding. It's good. It's good fun. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
It was nice to be out there again, and it was see all the exact same faces that you see at every race, and everybody was. But it was funny because we all had buffs on. So sometimes you'd go hello and they'd kind of look at you and you'd pull the buff down for a second and you'd go, oh, Al, how are you?
Yeah.
For a split second you wouldn't have recognized them. And
yeah,
there was a couple of runners had the COVID weight gain put on, and some of us had lost a bit of weight and put a bit of muscle on. It was funny how everybody changed over the 4 or 5 months since we'd last raced.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just sort of like thinking about it. How many more races are there going to be in Ireland? Is that the only one this year?
No. There's just this is the start of it now. They had another one the next day, the short course, which was just straight up to the top of Carrauntoohil and back down again. which is just a basic like straight up, straight down. It's not as technical. There's no real. If you go up the easy route and down the easy route, and now I know that Kerryway is on in September, the Wicklow Way Solo is on in October. Morris Mullins is back on. So I think this was a tester to see how it will run, and it went very well, because when you went through the finish line, you went through the tent. They kind of had a big kind of tunnel tent set up. So you went through, you got your, well, I don't drink beer, but you got your hipster beers, and I got a lovely trucker running hat, and you got bars and cokes and sandwich. Usually they'd have a big barbecue. You'd have like beef curries and rice and all that kind of stuff, but they can't really do that now anymore. So they just had food for people to take off the table, sandwiches and a hot thing of soup, and then you just had to make your way out of the paddock, back down to your car, and then looked after yourself in your car. You had your own area with your car separate from everybody else. So I got my chair out and I put the legs up and I watched more people coming in down the mountains from the distance, and had a shower, and there's a lovely showering. They have a great display. It was very well organized. I said it to Rob after, the guy who runs all this, and I said, fairness, I felt very safe, which was nice, apart from going up the mountain and sheer drops left and right of you. I felt safe.
Apart from the near imminent death, you felt very safe.
Yeah, but it was. I'll send you the video. I'll send you the 12-minute video, and you'll see myself and Tina coming up it in one section.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
So, because I know that you haven't been running anywhere near as much because you've been working.
Yeah.
How did you just get straight back into it in your stride, or was it a bit tough?
I noticed it. I bonked. I had a massive, what do you call it, bonking when you're running. I had a massive bonk on about 2.5 hours in. I got a really severe headache. And I found I was fine on the flats and going down, but climbing, my breath was catching, so I knew that my hill work wasn't as good as it used to be. But I think the headache was down to dehydration. Again, I was fine. I mean, I finished our last mile over that terrain. We were hitting like 7 minutes for the mile after running after 3,000 meters. Like, we came in super fast. Like the section going down, we passed at least 5-6 people, and then we passed hundreds of hikers, and we were sprinting like. So I suppose sometimes the rest as well can help you, I was just glad to be out there. So I think now my next one is going to be October, hopefully. 31st will give me time to train properly for the Wicklow Way Solo. You've 21 hours to finish the 120 kilometers. It's a very, very tight cut-offs at checkpoints. It's like 6,000 meters of climbing over the 120 kilometers. And the Wicklow Mountains in some crazy conditions up over Joust and places like that. If any Irish boys are listening, you know what I'm on about. Joust has no trees or no anything. It's just a wide open mountain, and there's planks up there. And sometimes the wind is so strong that you actually have to go on the ground and crawl next to the planks because you can't even stand up. So that's going to be next one, October, I think. So.
Well, I admire you for being able to do it, because I know it's something I'd never be able to do, but I love hearing your tales about them. I will say, though, in terms of a bonk in this country, that would a bonk would mean something entirely different that you were up to on a mountain, I have to admit.
No, bonking over here is just you're just shut down. Usually I carry orange flavored salt tablets, and I suck on them. And then within 5 minutes you're fine again. You get 70 of them in a bottle, and you usually take 8 or 9 of them during a race. But you have to be careful, because you can take too many and you can retain water, which is very dangerous. Your belly bloats and you have too much you're imbalanced in, and then you can cause I can never pronounce it, hemidemia, I think it's called, where you actually drown in your own body. But look, I was happy. I came off. I think I lost about 6 or 7 pounds in weight in water from sweating, so I could eat what I wanted for the last 2 days, which was nice. But the only bad thing was I had to go back to work, and then yesterday as well, and the kitchen was so warm with my sunburn. I was in agony.
I can imagine.
In the kitchen, every time I opened the oven, the heat used to waft up the inside of my jacket sleeves. Oh, and we have Isle of Yule plants, and I was breaking off the leaves and rubbing it onto my body, my arms to cool them.
Mm.
So, and I hope that was. I tried to make it exciting. I don't know, did it come across as exciting? But that's kind of a race report of one of my races.
Yeah, well, keep them coming because they're really interesting to hear. So, thanks for that. Right, okay, shall we go on to gaming this week? All right, so gaming this week, and we've got a bit of news, several bits of news actually. First off, Microsoft has stopped making the Xbox One X.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not only the Xbox One X, but also the Xbox One S all digital, because as they're revamping ready for the future with the Series X, they're taking a natural step of stopping production of the Xbox One X and the all-digital S, a spokesman said, adding production of the 2016's Xbox One S, the one with a drive, will continue. But with the devices and services coming out, this seems to be more like an effort to really reduce the number of consoles in the market to sort of avoid customer confusion, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of that. And among the new devices coming to the market in the holiday season will obviously be the PS5, and Microsoft may be discontinuing the all-digital Xbox One S to make room for the Lockhart version as well, which is the Xbox Series S.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I suppose it's the right move because really they're kind of moving, as we spoke about before. It's more a platform now than really the box they're selling, isn't it?
It is, because they're having a very different approach to this, because I think Microsoft has come under a bit of fire from people saying that there's not actually going to be any Series X exclusives, because what they're doing is you're buying a game on the platform.
And you can play it anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that idea, because
I do too.
It means that you don't have to be day one purchaser of the Series X.
Yeah, and they moved they announced it in September, the xCloud is going on to the Game Pass.
Yeah,
in
another
September,
good news.
And then they stopped today. They announced that they've stopped the Microsoft Gold. It's 12 months. You can't get that anymore now today. So, for me, they're doing all the right moves. You can't get it online, yeah, but I think eventually they're going to get rid of it, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll be all the Game Passes. I just hope that I'm an iPhone user, so I really want to get September, they'll have the iPhone, you can play it over here,
Well, I've been waiting to be able to use that for ages.
I'm the same, it's all Android users have it.
Yeah, because, it is out on the Apple.
Yeah,
but you have
I can't get into it. Yeah.
No, I can't either. No. So, because what I want to be able to do is, play the Xbox in the living room while the missus is watching the TV. Because I could have been Ghost of Tsushima today. No, that's PlayStation. But
I'm more for work. Having my phone hooked up to I get the little connecting thing to your controller, and then just have on a break for half an hour or 20 minutes or 10 minutes on the throne, we'll call it. Have a game. Of something, or just,
Yeah.
It's nice to have it that handy. I think it's fantastic,
It'd make it certainly a different Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and I know people are knocking that, like Phil Spencer came out and said that there's going to be no exclusives, but I like it's like my phone. I have everything I want. I've got my camera, my movies, Netflix, my apps. I have everything on the one device. It doesn't matter which iPhone I have, from the 8 up to the new 12 coming out in November, whenever. Do you know what I mean? Yes, some games will run better on the newer phone, but the games still run well on if I had the iPhone 10 or 8.
Yeah.
And for me, that's perfect. And yes, I have my Sony PlayStation in for the exclusives, but then again, I haven't seen anything I wanted on this, Haydn, yet, on the PlayStation 5. Yes, I've heard people saying that presentation they did, and I know we talked about it, that presentation they did was amazing, the production value, but the further I've gotten away from that, like I watched the thing recently with, or the other day with Jeff from the Game Awards, he did the big thing with the game controller. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't that impressed with the game controller. I mean, I thought the back of it's going to have the buttons that people were saying was going to be on the back of it, but it wasn't. And haptic feedback, I don't know. I think I like the way Xbox is moving with their stuff, having everything in one device or one platform accessible from anything.
Yeah.
From anywhere. I think it's a case of, come on, Sony, what are you going to do in the next? No, that's where the future's going.
Yes. I think Sony needs to stop resting on its win this generation.
Yes, I think they do as well. And people are saying, like, oh, it's exclusive, exclusive. Yes, it is. But I guarantee you, I would prefer to play, like you're playing now, which you're going to talk about later on. I can't wait to hear about it, the Ghost of Tsushima. Can you imagine that on your Xbox? And you can just, I know you can do streaming from the PlayStation, but I mean, from what I've seen and what I've heard, Xbox xCloud really seems to be hitting out of the park,
Yeah.
with that streaming service. Can you imagine sitting at work or sitting at your desk and picking up Ghost of Tsushima on your iPhone to your little spare Bluetooth controller, and you're playing it on, like, the new phones do 4K HDR now, So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was last year subscribed to PlayStation Now, which ran out last month. I've not renewed it.
Yeah.
Because I just found the live streaming to just not be up to it.
Yeah.
It would frequently break connection.
Yeah.
And you just don't want that. And also, you would be able to see a visual step down in graphical quality as well. I thought, I know you can download the games in that service now, and there's lots of them to do it. But I thought, actually, I don't want this. It was nice to have for the year, but now that year's done, I'm not bothered about renewing it. Game Pass, definitely renew that. So
I think
not that you'll have much of a choice, but
that's true. No, I was talking to my friend. He's the manager in the local GameStop. I haven't seen him for a while, and it was nice to chat to him and what games we played while we were in lockdown and stuff. Even though I didn't play much, he played loads. And he was saying that they had 161 people pre-ordered the PlayStation 5, but they had 80 something on the Xbox Series X pre-ordered, which he was surprised about because that was way more than the Xbox One when that was coming out for. And there's still a few months to go. So, yeah, we all know the PlayStation is going to outsell it. But I just think it'd be interesting if you take into account, you don't have to have an Xbox now to play games on the Xbox universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can play Halo. You can play the new Halo game, which I'm so excited for. I really am. I'm getting hyped the more I see and find out about this game. But you could have an iPhone or an Android phone, pay your €12 a month, or whatever it costs in England, sorry, I'm saying euros, and you can play, you have a library of 100 games or whatever, and you're in the Xbox universe. They haven't sold the box, but they're still getting your money.
Yeah.
So how do you count that then as who's selling the most,
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is all of this about the PlayStation exclusives is increasingly becoming a fallacy anyway, because Death Stranding is now on PC.
Yeah, I have it downloaded. I'm hopefully going to get to it. I don't know when.
Yeah.
No, I will say, which I'm going to talk about later on, is The Last of Us, kind of my review of it, or my thoughts on it. Like towards the end of this generation again, and I'm sure from what you've been saying and from what I've heard, that Ghost of Tsushima is definitely becoming a classic straight away, apparently, or a great game. Like, I would love Xbox to do that kind of gaming again. They used to. They used to be the guys with the exclusives like that. I do hope, maybe not now, not next year, but within the next 3 to 4 years, we're at that level of Sony PlayStation exclusives on the Xbox.
But I think that what's going to happen in terms of it is you're going to get the Xbox exclusives. But what I mean by that is not PlayStation. I don't mean One or Series X or PC. I think that they'll be just classified as Xbox.
Yeah.
Or you'll have PlayStation, or it'll be both. But Microsoft have bought loads of different companies.
Yeah, there's 15 of them. Yeah,
they're gonna have ones that are the new version of exclusive, which is the way that Sony is going as well. Which is they're also available on PC.
Yeah.
And because of the way that the strategy is to keep people locked into that Xbox universe now, with the next couple of years, you'll still be able to buy the game on the Xbox One and then upgrade when you're ready to the Series X. Because I'm sure that there'll be some people who'll be thinking, well, actually, I've got an Xbox One X. I don't need to upgrade right now. If I'm not bothered about the quick loading and I'm not bothered about ray tracing, and I'm not bothered, I'm already getting 4K. I'm not bothered about, 4K at 120 hertz. Why you wouldn't want to be, but there we go. But let's say that you're that person. Why would you want to upgrade? To the next console just to have the next console to play the same games. Let's face it, you wouldn't. So it makes sense the way that they're going.
I think so too. I think so too.
And then not only that, but when you do upgrade, you've already got a well-established catalogue,
massive library,
and the games that you've already got are going to look so much more better.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you go in day one to get your Xbox, right? You don't have to buy a game if you don't want to.
No.
You could just pay. You could literally that first month, and they'll probably give you a month free anyway. And you can go home and you can literally. I know you have to download it, but you can download the new Halo Infinite game and play it on the best settings.
Yeah.
And that's where the Sony PlayStation. You have to get that, and then you have to go and pay 50, 60 euros, whatever, for the Spider-Man game, we'll say, or for Ratchet and Clank, which I want to play anyway, the Ratchet and Clank game, But for me, I don't understand why people knock that in. To me, that makes sense for the Xbox. Like, the Xbox sounds like a better deal to me. Yeah. Am I wrong?
No,
people knock it. I was listening to a podcast today or someone today that was knocking it really badly as well, and saying that that Xbox are making massive mistakes and they're throwing things. They're just not it's a disaster, But for me, I think it makes perfect sense. It's strange.
Mate, I'll tell you what it is. It's just sensationalism in journalism. That's all it is. That's all it is. Because that
looking for the likes or for the comments or for
that's all it is. We've seen loads of YouTubers do it. We've seen services do it. We've seen other podcasters do it. Just ignore it. It's just listen to what's actually going on and make a judgment yourself.
That's
Personally, true. I think that the way that they're doing it is sensible. They've recognised one of the key things, and it's been the big point for Xbox One this generation has been backwards compatibility. Sony used to get it.
Yeah.
They had it with the PlayStation 2. They had it a little bit with the PlayStation 3 until they took it away.
Yeah.
And now they just don't get it. But people will still want to be able to play their own old catalogue. Otherwise, why are there so many retro gamers?
It's true. And did you see the new box arts for both next generation?
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed with either of them, to be honest with you. I'd like them changed up a bit. They just really added a sticker to it or changed the colour, didn't they? Xbox and PlayStation.
PlayStation changed the top of the box to have a white stripe instead of a blue one.
And Xbox have a big sticker now saying Xbox Series X Smart Play or something, isn't it?
And I have to admit, whoever's doing a design at Xbox at the moment really wants shooting.
Why?
Well, that sticker looks an eyesore.
It's covering the picture of the car.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense.
And a console is a box.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not getting into this argument with you because you'll draw people on you again, Haydn, and you'll end up messaging me.
I really don't care. It's a box. It is a box.
Hence the name Xbox.
Yeah. But it's not a box like the one that Bill Gates was going to introduce, which was a prototype. Which, if they'd have done that would have been cool.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
The PlayStation PlayStation 5 doesn't look like anything.
It looks funky. Oh. It looks funky.
Well, it starts with an F. I don't know.
Each to their own. I'll just I still don't like the shoebox. Anyway.
It might surprise you when you take it out of the box and look at the box.
I'll be happier with what it does rather than the way it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still think it'll be out in November? You don't think? I'm looking forward to Thursday now. They need to really knock it out of the park on Thursday.
Be
Xbox.
interested if they turned around and they said, and the Series X will be available from the 1st of August.
Well, the rumors were that before COVID, it was going to be the end of August. I was reading a journalist who usually gets things spot on. They were saying their insiders were telling him that they were going for an end of August release to get it out there.
Yeah.
And because of COVID, then that threw everything up. And now I think I think they were trying to stay away from PlayStation as much as they could.
Mm.
That would have been great to have it in August because you would have had a couple of months with it, and then you would have had, you'd had enough time to get value out of it and get onto the PlayStation as well. Then instead of having them a week or 2 weeks apart, it's a bit. You feel like you're cheating on either one of them when you're playing either, if that makes sense,
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, they were so close together last time, like.
Yeah.
And he kind of overwhelmed. What do I play? I want my achievements, or do I want to play my trophy? Do I want to play there's too much stuff then.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. But anyway, our next bit of news, I suppose really should have gone in the movies, TV and streaming, but I'll mention it anyway, is did you hear about Grant Imahara from Mythbusters and the White Rabbit Project? He's died. And I didn't know this. He was 49.
Yeah.
I thought he was like 30s, I must admit.
Well, he was young looking, like.
Oh, he was very young looking.
He's around a long time, though. He was around since, was it Robo Wars? Remember that TV show years ago? Made it kind of famous. He's
worked on lots of stuff. But basically, those of you who don't know, what was about 6-7 years ago, there was a show that was very popular called Mythbusters, and Grant Imahara was one of the hosts of the show. He was an electrical engineer and roboticist who hosted that. He died suddenly following a brain aneurysm. The Hollywood Reporter has learned that, we are heartbroken to hear about the sad news of Grant. He was an important part of our Discovery family and a really wonderful man. Our thoughts and prayers go with him. It's, evidently, that's a quote from a representative from the Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
But he joined Discovery's Mythbusters in its 3rd season, replacing Scotty Chapman, and was with the show until 2014, when he left with co-hosts Kira Bryan and Tori Belleci, and they later formed Netflix The White Rabbits Project, which lasted for 1 season.
It was really okay. I didn't really like that.
I never actually caught it, but
it's okay.
In his years, he also worked for Lucasfilm, and he worked for the company's THX and Industrial Light and Magic divisions. And when he was at ILM, he became the chief model maker, specialising in animatronics, and worked on the Star Wars prequels done by George Lucas, but also worked on The Matrix and The Matrix Revolutions, Galaxy Quest, Triple X State of the Union, Van Helsing, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, AI Artificial Intelligence, and Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines.
There's a CV. That's some CV in fairness.
That is a heck of a CV. But also, and I don't know if you ever watched these when I sent you the link, but Grant Imahara also starred in several episodes of the fan-made series Star Trek Continues, where he played Hikaru Sulu on the Enterprise, which was the unofficial continuation of the original series. And when I say it's sort of like a fan production, it was a fan production made by some of the cast.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It was very much in the vein of the original series.
Yeah, it had that feel about it. Yeah, I agree with you there.
It was absolutely brilliant. That and Star Trek Continues, and I forgot what the other one, New Voyages. Both of those are both fantastic shows, and both done very similarly, and both had, people who played in the original series and other series as well.
Yeah.
Very sad. Yeah, very sad. So, he will be missed. In terms of the poll for this week, I asked the question, how long should a video game be? And we gave the options of up to 10 hours, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 more, 100 or more, never ending, or a bit, variety.
Yeah.
So by far, the most popular vote was for between 21 to 30 hours is what people thought was the sweet spot.
Yeah, that's for me as well, I think.
Yeah, but some of you, 14 of you, actually said 11 to 20 hours as well. Not many people were really into the never-ending sort of games. Only 2 people voted for that. And anything, well, above 31 hours, basically that includes over 100. There was 6 people in total who voted for that, with 3 saying all of the above, so you're having a bit of a mixture. So by far, 21 to 30 hours is how long you expect a game to be, but obviously minimum 11.
I tend to have one game a year for some reason comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That I go over like the 100 hours. Like this year was Assassin's Creed. I've done Mad Max. I've done Shadows of Mordor. What else? I think Borderlands wasn't far off 100. I always seem to have one game a year that catches you. I always try and get one. But too many of them is too much. I think 20 to 21, 30. You can, like, if you're working out like you are now, long hours, long days. That's just how you can do 1 or 2 hours a night if you're lucky. So you can get it done within 1, 2, 3 weeks,
More than that, it starts to drag.
Yeah, it does, and you kind of start to forget as well. Sometimes you might 2 days will pass, and yourself some controls or like I can see from watching YouTube videos of that Ghost of Tsushima. There's a bit of skill. I think a bit of learning in those controls for the fighting. I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know how smooth they are yet. I'm looking forward to hearing what you say.
Yeah, I'll come on to that shortly.
Yeah.
Anyway, a couple of you had some points. So Lee Doherty said 20 to 30 hours is a sweet spot. You feel like you're getting your money's worth without getting burnt out with it, which is exactly what we said.
Yeah.
Example, he came The Last of Us 2 in a few weeks. Yet he's been chipping away at Days Gone for months.
Oh, yeah. I'm doing the same.
On and on.
I'm chipping away at Days Gone as well. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid my days with that game are gone. And I started playing it and I didn't really enjoy it that much, but
yeah,
I could see the potential, but I just thought this is going to go on forever. I just don't want to play it. Richard Mortlock said he likes short ones as you can finish them quickly. A long one can be overwhelming and difficult to get your teeth into. Yeah. My wife said don't say matron, but I'm going to. Justin Lee said very much depends on the game. He likes a short focused story game of between 8 and 12 hours actually, which is interesting. However, he also loves the big RPG like Skyrim and a Witcher, or a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey where he's put in over 100 hours into each of those and enjoyed every minute of them. Well,
I agree there.
I can agree. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is, I think, in the top 2 of the Assassin's Creed games.
I think it's my number 2 would be my top one. I think.
I would say number 2 would be the best one.
Yeah, and then Assassin's Creed Odyssey for me.
Yeah, and the reason why I would say Assassin's Creed 2 to be my best one is because I loved Ezio.
Yeah, I did too. I wish they'd kept that character going more.
There's lots more story that could be with him.
Yeah, he was such a good character, and he was so relatable. I don't know what the story. That second Assassin's Creed was just so good. Like.
Yeah, but I did enjoy Brotherhood as well because
I did too as well.
Yeah, that got panned a little bit, but I really enjoyed that, and I think it's actually better on the remastered version because you don't have the multiplayer game in it as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And have you been seeing much the new one? I'm not as hyped as I was for Valhalla.
I'm trying to avoid anything to do with it at the moment, but I have a feeling that this is going to end up falling a bit like Assassin's Creed 3.
I think it is too because after watching some gameplay now recently and the reveal, and also reading an article yesterday while I was at work on my break, of someone who had 3 or 4 hours with it. I wasn't liking what I was reading or what I was seeing. I just slowly my enthusiasm. I was like, I was all in day one, but now I'm like, I don't know. It just looks like a complete reskin of Odyssey. But just not as good for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I just overdosed on Odyssey now because I'm at like 150 something hours, like, or whatever.
Maybe it's Vikings. Maybe it's the Viking bit.
But I was excited for the Viking bit when I heard about it, and I've always wanted Vikings. Like I've always wanted samurai.
Yeah.
That's my interest. But even the look of the character, the two characters you can play as, the male or the female, I don't like the look of them. I don't know why. Where I love the look of Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, she was brilliant. Like, and even the guy, I didn't play him. What was
Alexius.
His name? Alexius. I never. Sorry, no, everybody's Alexius after gone off there probably. I didn't play as him, but Cassandra was brilliant to play as. Like, she was so good.
I played as Alexius and I liked him. He had a nice sort of sense of humour about him.
Yeah, the acting, the voice character for Cassandra was actually as good, if not better, than The Last of Us. I have to say, it was so good, like, But well, yeah, that's good, an interesting poll.
We'll see. We'll see. It might be better than we think.
I hope it is.
So do I. Thanks, guys. I put up another poll this week as well. If any of you have any interest in any ideas for polls, let us know, and we can use that as the focus as well. But I know you guys like it, and I know you like getting your views across on them. So we'll keep it up there. So, do you want to do the new releases, Alan?
Yeah, I will. Right, so new releases, well, big list, coming out on PC on the 20th of this month, Into the Radius, PC platform game from CM Games. Then coming out on the 21st of this month is Rock of Ages 3, Make a Break on all platforms, even including Stadia, from Modus Games. And then coming out on the PS4 and Xbox on the 24th is Made of Scar, is it?
Scar, I think, yeah.
Scar, Made of Scar on the 24th of the 7th. I don't know what that game is. I'll have to Google it.
No, I've not seen that one.
There's nothing interesting there. I think we're on the downward spiral now, really, till
September.
What's in September?
Well, it's not Destiny anymore, is it?
It's not Cyber. It's not
No, Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk either. That's going to be a kind of a day of the same day nearly, or the day before as the Xbox, I think, by all accounts. But yeah, I think even though it's a good way to finish The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima are kind of the farewell party, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
And what a way to finish.
Well, yeah, we'll come on to that shortly. Do you want to do the epic ones as well?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'll scroll down. Right, so yeah, actually I picked this up today. Coming out at the moment is a brilliant game, Torchlight 2.
Yes.
I finished that on the Xbox. It's fantastic. And then coming in, I've got my screen is small now. Sorry.
It's the 23rd.
The 23rd. I'll have to make the screen bigger. I don't know how. I'm on my laptop. Sorry, boys. And then coming soon is Next Up Hero and also Tacoma, which is I think that was on Xbox Game Pass, wasn't it? That's supposed to be quite a good game.
It is. It's like a puzzle sort of game.
Yes.
But, it's one that I've 1K'd. It's a good game.
Yes, I think, yeah. And Next Up Hero looks like, I don't know. But again, they're free. And like we always say every time I'm on the show, just click and stick it in your library. Don't play it if you don't want it, but it's a free game for nothing, It's your growing library in your PC. One day they might end up on the consoles, Epic Games or something, you never know. And you've got a great library there straight away, start you off again.
Well, there's been a little bit of talk about, could the Series X actually have a dual boot?
Oh, yeah. Like a dual, like a Windows system, yeah. I'm sure someone will mod it.
I'm sure that they will. Okay, so I know everybody wants to hear about Ghost of Tsushima, but do you want to just run us through your play of The Last of Us 2? Because I know that you completed that.
Just about.
I think what we'll say is spoiler alert.
Small bit, yes. I'll try my best not to, but it's hard not to talk about it and not kind of give some comments away,
Yeah, it's when you find out that Joel was an alien.
Yes. and, and,
And,
and
and he created the virus originally. He infected everyone. Not, but
no,
no, I
it
could
was
have a
all a
spoil.
dream. He never shot the doctor and took her away in the hospital. She's
Yeah,
still on the operating table and dreaming.
and then he stepped out of the shower.
Yeah. Ewing ball. Yeah, that's right. The Ewing brothers. I know you've talked about this and over the last few weeks I had been around, but I finally finished it. I actually was going really well, but then I kind of got back to work pretty much full time, and so the last say 10 or 12 hours took me a bit longer to finish.
Hmm.
So what will I say about it? I'm going to be a bit controversial here on some of the things I say because it might sound like I didn't enjoy it, where I really, really enjoyed this game. It's probably one of my favorites on the platform, on the PlayStation platform, that I've done like, next to the original. I loved it, but
Yeah,
I know from talking to you and some stuff that happened, and I know I'll start to start. For me, The Last of Us Part 2 wasn't fun to play, and that's probably a strange statement to say, right?
hmm
Because I played it, and it actually took me 30 hours to finish it, right, which I think was a bit longer than most people. Um, because I really took my time playing it, and I know most people do, but I went into every nook and corner, I was enjoying the world more so than the actual violence.
yeah.
The violence, like, and I know as gamers, violence is kind of second, and that's kind of sad to say as well, but it is second nature, really hating, isn't it? Like first person shooters and the Call of Duties. You kind of build up a tolerance towards it in a way. But
I think it's when it's the sort of like direct melee
yes,
combat though that makes it
yes.
feel different.
And I think what they've done here is like they've actually made a murder simulator, which again sounds a bit controversial when I'm saying it out loud, but it actually became quite unbearable in some parts, and I've never reacted to a video game like this before. Um, no, I'll start off with the good stuff, like, but it's all good. To say like this is a stunning looking game,
Mm.
and I don't want to undersell this in any way. It really is quite remarkable what Naughty Dog have gotten, and they did the exact same thing with the PlayStation 3, with The Last of Us, the first one. They did the exact same thing towards the end of the generation. They sucked every bit of they could get out of that machine, and the attention to detail, it's like bordering on obsessive. It's like it really suits my personality because every corner, like you don't have to go around the corner like of this house or in through a window. Someone probably spent weeks designing the room or whatever, but you might just walk past it. But if you go in there, the stuff that you will see on the walls, in the doors, little nooks and crannies was just it was stunning. Like
Yeah.
um, it, um, how will I say this now? The Last of Us is a game. It's a game about hate, really, and the effects of violence. That's what I took from it.
I I
You know?
I would say vengeance.
Yeah, I see. I
Like
thought that first, Hayden, when I was
but
playing it. I could see the storyline from Ellie's point, right? But as I played the game, for me, it became more about hate and violence rather than vengeance. It
I
just,
I was
you
thinking it
know,
was more. I felt it was she was obsessed with killing her.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you, but it didn't come. It came across. Yeah, I suppose everybody picks up their own ways, like their own opinions on the game. For me, it stepped away from the vengeance side of it in a big way, and it just became about hatred. She wanted vengeance so much that it just became hate, and the violence just got more and more. And like the sequences of the killings and stuff, like I mean, it was all like spoilers alert. The first 2 hours, there's a shocking death, which we all kind of knew that was going to come, and it was quite I have to say, again, it was one I put the controller down about 4 or 5 times in this game. I know I had spoke to you on one of them. I found it quite, and it's funny as I talk, but no, I actually found it quite upsetting. Which to the
Mm.
power of Naughty Dog, I say, wow, like there's to be able to do that in a video game. It's like a movies or TV shows. You get reactions like that. Even reading a book, sometimes you can get a reaction like that, But rarely do you get it in a video game, because the video game takes you out of the world you're in, I suppose, and transports you to a universe. And sometimes you just like I won't say a zombie, but just kind of zoning out and just enjoying it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean, on my first playthrough, running up to that murder, and we've said spoiler
Yes.
alert, so we'll say Joel gets killed.
But
Okay,
it's so well done.
yeah, it
That
is. It
scene,
is well done.
that scene where Tommy says his name, right?
Yeah,
And then and then the camera pans over to Joel, and Joel kind of does a little turn, a slow turn, and they all look at him, and he kind of, you could sense. Until then, I didn't know what was going. I had no idea what Abby was up to, because you kind of jump into Abby not knowing who she is or what she is.
no,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
and this is what I was going to say because
Yeah,
I've started this on New Game Plus now,
yeah,
and in terms of that, there's a lot of dialogue,
yes.
and they're obviously on a mission to do something.
Mm.
But they're saying, you're looking for him and this, that, and the other. Now all that's going on. But you just sort of like, well, I'm sure that we'll find out what that is. Yes, you do, because they're after Joel.
Yeah.
But what you actually, the way that Abby is introduced to Joel, they work together.
Yes.
He
He saves her,
a short time. He saves her.
which that scene where you have to crawl as Abby through the fence with spoilers alert. Sorry again, lads. There's going to be spoilers. I mean, you can't talk about it without having, but it's early in the game, anyway. But you know the scene I'm talking about, where you kind of have to crawl through the fence as the clickers and the zombies are pushing the fence down on top of you.
Yeah.
And like that was like that moment from Metal Gear Solid 4, was it, where you're crawling through the radiation? I don't know, have you ever played that game and finished it? I have. I love it. And you have to crawl towards the end to switch off. You're crawling through the radiation. You're dying, like, and it takes ages, but you're pushing the controller forward bit by bit to get out of it. And the tension. That was the last time I felt tension like that.
Yeah.
In the game. But yeah, it was just. And then when to see Ellie coming through the door, and then to see her, the way she killed him, I mean, it was a very, like, the blood was on the golf club and stuff, the bits of brain and things. I put the controller down and I actually switched it off. And I actually spent the whole night, even the next day, I was still thinking about it. And that's, for a game to that's a powerful thing, I think, and to its credit. Now,
and the thing is that this links directly to The Last of Us Part 1.
Yes.
The motivation of why
which
they
you
were
find out
after
later
Joel,
on.
which you find out as well.
Yes. The thing I didn't like a little bit was there was too many snap deaths and shock for the shock factor, I thought. You had characters who died without kind of warning, really. You know who I'm talking about. There's a couple of them. And they kind of... They died without warning, like, kind of without giving them a second thought or any kind of respect, I felt.
What I think what you're talking about there is the end of Seattle Day 3, the first one and the second one.
Well, there was a couple of them, yeah. There was a couple of deaths I thought there was no real need for, especially one character who he's kind of part of the threesome of the,
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning.
I didn't like
shot
that
in the head.
Yeah, I didn't like that death. I thought that was I actually liked him as a character.
Yeah, I did.
And then I felt like, why did I invest in him when it was just like thrown aside death really again, and then you never really spoke about him or heard about him, or I felt
Do you not think that that's part of that world though, because it's such a harsh world?
Yeah, but it would have been nice. Yeah, it would have been, but that's what I found about this game. It was a brilliant game. For me, it's a masterpiece, and I don't use that word often, right? I consider this game a masterpiece of gaming because of the emotions that I felt playing it. I've never felt any of that kind of emotions playing any other game. I probably have, but not to the degree where the emotions were such of despair. I was actually angry a couple of times. I was actually annoyed or pissed off a couple of times because of the direction the story was going, but was still invested in the story.
It goes to some dark places.
It does. Now, of course, what I loved about the game, and it probably took me 30 hours, was all the collections in it. And I'm working on the platinum now at the moment. And I don't do that. I don't do that often.
Yeah, well, I'm doing that as well. But
yeah,
let's be fair. That is some people's nightmare in a game as well.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
my OCD or CDO. Sorry, boys, I still have to keep doing that. I loved it. And actually, as I was doing that, I kind of came to revelation myself playing the game. And I don't know that I tweet this to you or was I messaging you or Steve about it. I actually enjoyed being in the world like that, scavenging and going from house to house and reading the notes, looking at the stuff on the wall, going into people's bedrooms. I actually used to go into the bedrooms and you'd see a toy and you'd see the PlayStations and you'd see all that kind of stuff and you'd interact with things. I love that. If the whole game was just that, I would have loved it even more, I think. The actual fighting, like I suppose you call it like a horde room, or you go into a section, you had to clear the section out, or you could run through it. Now, like I said, I've watched people who are just running straight through sections just to get through the door on the other side, which I don't understand. That confuses me so much. Why would you play a game that way when people have worked so hard to give you this environment? I played this game pretty much 95% stealth across the board. Like I use my silencer a lot, my bow and arrow a lot, but mainly quick assassinations and stuff like that a lot more.
I really like the skill trees in this, and I love the ability that you could create a temporary silencer from like cans or whatever.
Yeah, that's what and you could craft it quick on the fly.
I don't know if you found it to be the same, but it always seemed to run out on the last shot. So I was going bang, 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 and then the third shot would, be a full size, and then it'd get the whole horde coming at me. It always seemed to happen that way for some reason.
No, I think I upgraded mine to 5 shots or to the full upgrade and wherever it was. So I upgraded all my weapons. I was doing so much searching and finding like the pills, for upgrades, all that kind of stuff, and the desks and all that kind of things. But by the time I was half through the game, I had a lot of my stuff pretty much overpowered. I was pretty badass, like. No, the cutscenes were fantastic in it. Absolutely fantastic. But there was a couple of cutscenes I wish I had a bit of more control over, or even not having control over. Especially one scene. Now, this is going to be a spoiler one. There was one scene I found very difficult. Again, I know I'm talking about a video game, so it's very strange, but you guys who listen to us, you're passionate. You love your video games and your stuff, so hopefully it doesn't come across too geeky or nerdy or whatever you want to call it. I think I messaged you, and I think you said you did the same, but there's a scene where one of the characters has been infected and you're chasing her. And you stand over her, questioning her, trying to get information out of her.
Mm-hmm.
And you're only given one option, is to keep pressing square to beat her to death.
Yeah.
I put the controller down, and I'm not exaggerating. I left the controller on the table for 5 minutes and just waited.
I did because I didn't want to kill her. I mean,
I didn't either. She was dead anyway.
She had been infected.
Yeah.
By the spore fungus, but I thought, no, I'm not going to kill her. If there is a way, because I thought this is going to be like that Far Cry 5 thing at the beginning of the game, where you can either try to shoot someone or not do anything.
Yeah.
And
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like that, so I thought I'll leave it because I'm not going to go the way that they want me to do. And I left it, and I left it, and I left it, and I thought I don't have a choice with this. And in the end, I had to, like.
I didn't want to do it.
No, I didn't.
And I felt uncomfortable doing it. And in my head, that's what I'm saying. That the game, even though it's a masterpiece, and I enjoyed it every second of it, it wasn't fun to play. And by that, what I mean is like watching. Like, how will I say it? Like, the story's brutal and challenging, right? But it was never really fun. It was kind of forcing you to confront the violence in a way, Yeah. Like, in most mediums in a world where we live in, like, with John Wick and, like, how will I say it? Like, for me, The Last of Us was very much like watching Schindler's List, the movie.
Mm.
It was relentless emotions. Like, it was like an assault on your brain, and the harrowing and everything, but at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm trying to say. See, it's strange saying a game wasn't fun to play when I really enjoyed it. Does that make sense, Haydn? I don't know.
It was emotionally challenging.
Yes, and I can understand where the criticism people are coming from, like, and the backlash it's gotten. But to me, the game, it was a work of art. Like every aspect, every part was crafted. The visuals, the audio, the animation, the level design, the performances were stunning. And
I absolutely loved the story. I mean,
yes,
to me, I mean, I think I would say, if anything, the game got in the way of the story
yeah, that's what I'm gonna
sometimes.
say now. For me, it felt like a TV show with 2 seasons.
Mm.
And you know what I'm going to talk about. Because spoilers alert, you play as Abby for 10 hours, 10, 11 hours, I'm guessing. Depends how you play it, but you play
I
her
think
story,
I
you
think
know?
it is about half of the game that you
Yeah.
play as her.
And I actually preferred, when the game was finished, I actually preferred playing as Abby more than Ellie.
Yeah,
And I actually would love them to do The Last of Us 3 following her story from when they get on the boat.
yes,
Because I think I know at the end of the game, your screen changes and you see the boat and you see where they like, do they end up back with a certain group of people. If you know what I'm talking about, no?
yeah. I know
Yes.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I don't want to give that away. I think there's a journey there, how they get there and what happens to them there. That could be really, because those two characters, it reminded me of Joel and Ellie from the first one. It was a very much similar story. How she was like, she killed Joel. She was like, but at the end of it, then her heart came out and she saved the girl, or the boy, or the transgender, whatever you want to call it again,
mm.
in the show. Look, for me, I can't overstate. It was a very harrowing game to play, but when I finished it, I was glad I played it. I was so happy that a game like this was made,
Yeah.
and that a game could make you question how you play a game as well.
I think that the issue here is, to me, this was an issue of vengeance, but it
Yeah.
was obsessive vengeance, and
Yeah, but
beyond.
obsessive vengeance is hatred. That's hatred and violence. It changes the story. You
Yeah,
become like, she became a serial killer. Like
yeah, she did, because
she murdered people who were pregnant, and she didn't care.
it didn't matter who was
No,
in a way to
no,
get to Abby,
no, and
and that was the issue.
and
Is
I
that
wish I had more control over that. That I could help her, like that she didn't have to make those decisions in those cutscenes. The cutscenes were telling the story and moving it forward, but I wish you were given a choice in some of those cutscenes. Like even killing the dogs. I wish there was a way not to kill the dogs. It broke my
yeah,
heart.
yeah. Even though they're dogs are not real dogs, but
No,
the
because they named the dogs. Like, you'd kill a dog and you'd hear his owner call him, and he'd go, "No, Shep," or something.
yeah,
And I'd be like, "Why?" I mean, so I used to try and kill all the people around them, and then try and run away from the dogs. But they used to follow your scent, you know.
yeah, they did until you left that
So
area.
yeah,
Yeah, you had to do it. It forced you down a path, but I think that some of that was really to establish how really unhinged Ellie was as
yeah,
a character. But I think that where the conflict is and why people have gone negative about this is more to do with the fact that it felt out of step with the Ellie from the first game.
yeah.
And I think
That's
that was the issue. And even though Joel got killed in the most horrific way possible in front of Ellie, it didn't feel enough to make her the deranged serial killer that she ends up becoming in the game.
no, because even those flashback scenes, I loved them. I so enjoyed going to that aquarium section.
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
So nice. And then even no, even on the farm section was lovely. That was a stunning moment.
I loved the one with Joel in the with the dinosaurs and that
Oh,
at the end bit of that where she gets in
and
the capsule and that.
and she gives him the hat as well that
Yeah,
he wears. And you can actually skip that and he doesn't get the hat as well. There was like, and you could put the hat on the dinosaurs. There was so much stuff in it. And that's what I'm saying. I would have loved the whole game to have been about surviving in the world, and not like I Am Legend or Like, do you ever see the movie The Road? Again, a stunning movie where it was just about surviving. Yeah, you came up
Yeah.
against the odds. You came up on I Am Legends vampires. It's a bit different, but it was never about hatred or violence. It was just about him surviving and trying to survive or save the human race. Like the both of them, you know.
Yeah, you see, to me, the only
Mm.
thing that would have made Ellie go the way that Ellie did
Yeah,
was Joel would have had to have still been killed, but I think the rest of her community would have had to have as well.
yeah. I was
That
okay.
that would have been enough of a driver to make her into the serial killer she become. But
Yeah,
it didn't feel enough. Once she'd gone through two or three people from that group,
yeah.
her hatred towards Abby would have dissipated a little.
Like the fight sequence at the end in the spoilers alert. For me, Ellie actually became the boss fight. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Abby actually became the person I wanted to. I didn't want. I actually failed that scene a couple of times because I didn't want to fight Abby.
Mm.
I actually again put the controller down, hoping that like that Abby would try and drown me, and then she'd have a moment of reflectiveness and wouldn't do it, and instead of me constantly stabbing her and threatening to kill the kid that was with her. What was the kid's name again? I can't remember. It's awful. With Abby, like that way she threatened her the kid unless Abby fought her. So for me, like Ellie became such a bad guy, such the boss character in the show,
Yeah.
which was a shame because the first one and even the DLC, she's such a great character,
Mm.
but her story's done now, really. Oh, well, I'm guessing it's done. I think it is.
I personally, I wouldn't want to see another Ellie story.
I
I'd
would
be happy to see an Abby story.
I would too. I'd love. Like she was a badass. Like when I first played her, I was like, ugh, we've got to go through all 3 days of Seattle again. I was kind of thinking to myself as I was playing it. But as I was playing her, and then it was funny how you interacted with the characters who Ellie ended up killing, and the animals the dogs that
Mm.
Abby loved, and then you end up killing those dogs as well. And they actually became, it was really nice how they crisscrossed all that, and then it all ended up into that scene where Abby shoots a certain character. Um,
Yeah, I think that they've done a very clever thing on the game design on this
mm,
game because you were set up to dislike Abby right from the start.
but you ended up loving
But
her the most,
but
I
you
think.
ended up liking her because
Mm,
you went through Seattle days 1 to 3,
mm,
and what it appeared from Ellie's perspective, I think that they painted Abby in a very specific picture, like she was somebody really big in charge, and
yeah,
she was very controlling, and blah blah blah. But when you actually get to Abby's story is completely different.
yeah. She
And
has like a redemption arc
yeah, she
in a
does
way. Yeah,
because of what she's doing and why she's at the hospital and then why she's at the SeaWorld place and all of that. It changes your
yeah,
perception of Abby very, very drastically.
yeah.
And I
Because
think
like,
that that's what makes it worse with Ellie.
but see, I liked the Abby character because her whole life was about vengeance for her father, and it came
Mm.
across like she worked out every day to become like a full-on beast, like muscle strong that she could always fight, you know.
Yeah.
And then her vengeance then kind of disappeared, and it just became about survival and find doing what was right. Look, I loved the game, Hayden. I really did. I was delighted I got a chance to play it because truthfully, if it had come out this month, I don't think I would have gotten a chance to play it maybe even until next year.
Mm.
So it was great. For me, it's a master. I know there are strong words to use. I don't use it often. Even in movies, I don't use it often because you rarely get anything that affects you like that. It's
Yeah.
so much emotions, and for some reason, The Last of Us 2, maybe it was just because we were in the pandemic, we were living through kind of tough times. Emotions were high as well.
Mm.
I loved it. I'd recommend anyone to play it, and yeah, people will have their opinions on it, and they're entitled to it, same as we are. But it's definitely worth the play, definitely. And
Absolutely.
I actually think, and I don't say it often, I think it deserves some of the 10 out of 10s it got um, in places. For me, definitely a 9 out of 10 there's very few things in life that are 10 out of 10 or a perfect score, but it
Yeah.
wasn't far off it. For a video game, it was fantastic.
For me, this hit very much the Naughty Dog sort of buttons in terms of fantastic story, gameplay very average. Is the way that I felt.
Yeah,
it's in terms.
Yeah.
In terms of like because if you think about Uncharted 4, otherwise dubbed the ultimate mountain climbing simulator,
or the ultimate serial killer.
Yeah, but
kill 500 people and then make a joke about it.
Yeah,
with
But it's the story. It's not the mechanic of actually listening to the story.
Yeah.
Having that told to you, it's just about what the overall story is, and this seems to be Naughty Dog's thing. They take a average sort of game and apply this beautiful varnish of a fantastic story to the mechanics of the game, which comes out as a sum greater than the total of its parts. And I think that this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. I love this. I'm going to sweep up I actually think I want to get the platinum on it. I think it deserves to, for some reason in the back of my head, even though I finished this and I'm only just going to go back into, which I like the chapters tell you exactly what item you're missing in each chapter. So I'm just going to go back and click. I think I'm missing 3 items or something.
Yeah, but
I was pretty methodical.
Did you do the whole of the skill trees and upgrades and stuff like that? Because
I think I'm only missing 1 or 2. I'm only missing something slight. I'm not far off it.
Yeah, because I think there was about 3 or 4 that I had to get, but I needed something like 400 or 500. Whatever it is, a commodity.
No, I'm pretty much I've Abby maxed out. And I think it's because Abby had a lot more resources. I found way more stuff with her.
Yeah.
A lot quicker because I think you had a shorter time with her.
Mm.
And I think Ellie, I think I have the bow and arrow maybe, and one of the guns just to finish off. Not a lot though.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go back. I might even jump on tonight after we finish this, because I'm hoping to resell it and get ghosts.
I'll tell you what I actually do like is the fact that when you do New Game Plus, obviously you start with, because there is a New Game Plus mode in this, but when you start with that, if you want to start the whole campaign again, all of your weapons and your skills unlock to the level
at the sections,
at the relevant sections. But you don't, for example, you don't get the silenced machine gun at the beginning of the game. Now, it would have been lovely.
Good. Oh, it would be so good.
Yeah, it'd be great to go through the whole game with that silenced machine gun. I would have loved that. But that was only available on the last level, the last chapter.
And that last section with those where Abby was captured.
Yeah. So, hey ho, but I like the way that they did that, because it meant that you're not overpowered straight away, although you're much more powered than the last time that you played through it.
But I think the first Last of Us, I'm happy now to go back and mop up a few of the trophies, which I rarely do. I'm not really a trophy hunter, and I'm more achievements. I'm not really achievements anymore. But I don't think I could play that story again, Haydn, from start. I think I got exactly what I was meant to get out of it. It's like when I do a race, sometimes I'll do a race and I won't go back and do it again. I got exactly what I wanted out of it,
I think it's interesting going back, because there was, if you actually listen to the story right from the start, there was a lot that indicated what was going to happen.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
I'm really wanting to go through it again to see what did I miss, because my brain just washed over it, because it felt like a bit of irrelevant information that was being thrown at me that actually has a lot of relevance.
Yeah, look, we could talk for hours more about this, to be honest with you. And I really want to hear about Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay, so let's move on to that.
But again, I hope people take this with a grain of salt, what I have to say, and I'm not being too kind of on the fence with my review by saying it's a masterpiece and I wasn't having fun. That's not a negative. I think the game it could easily become one of my favorite games over time. Yes,
It challenged you.
Which is very interesting to say. Playing a video game, isn't it?
Yeah, it sort of like challenged your belief system.
It did. I think Mass Effect 2. I think Mass Effect 2 was the last time I took so much time afterwards or while playing it on some of the decisions I made and the character decisions I went with. Because Mass Effect 2 is probably one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
I just thought that, I think Mass Effect 2 would have been the last time I had this kind of reaction to a game. This kind of reaction that has stayed with me so long. Because I finished it a couple of last week or something, and it's still stuck with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for going on so long about it, lads.
It's all right. Right, so Ghost of Tsushima then.
I look forward to this now.
Yeah, and I would say it is Ghost of Tsushima. It's not Ghosts. Everybody's putting Ghosts. I don't know why.
I know, yeah.
But anyway, Ghost of Tsushima. So basically, this is the game that we've been waiting for. I think it was 2014 or something. This was first announced. Yeah, and it's the final big finish. Final hurrah for the PS4 is this release. What I would say is, if you want to see what the game is actually like, if you haven't already seen it, which you've obviously been living under a rock, but if you haven't, then have a look at either the Pop Culture Gamers YouTube channel, because I'm uploading a video there, or just have a look at my Twitch channel, HERJ UK, and then you'll be able to see that.
I watched that at work. I had the iPad in front of me. I couldn't chat to you, but I had you on.
Yeah. So it's the year 1274, and a Mongolian invasion fleet led by Khotun Khan lands on the Japanese island of Tsushima. Jin joins with the rest of the island's local samurai, led by his uncle Lord Shimura, in an attempt to repel the invasion. However, the battle ends in disaster when the entire samurai army is killed and Lord Shimura is captured, and Jin is grievously wounded and left for dead. Jin's found and nursed back to health by Yuna, a local thief, who informs him that most of Tsushima has already fallen to the Mongols. Jin then leads an attempt to storm Khotun's stronghold, Castle Kaneda, in an attempt to rescue Lord Shimura, but is unable to defeat Khotun in a combat and is thrown from a bridge. Realizing that he cannot defeat the Mongols by himself or with the traditional samurai fighting style, Jin begins scouring the island to recruit allies and learn new fighting techniques to aid in his quest to rescue Lord Shimura. So I heard a lot of people talking about this game, saying, this game's going to be Dark Souls like.
Yeah.
And that was, I was out at that point.
Yeah, I would have been disappointed if it's like that.
Yeah. And I'm going to say now, the game is nothing like Dark Souls. So if you've heard those rumours, I don't know what version of Dark Souls that they were playing, but other than the fact that you have swords in it, that's about where the similarities end. Okay. So I've played this for several hours now, and I feel this game is, for all intensive purposes, although not by name,
say the words.
This is the Samurai Assassin's Creed game that we have been wanting to play for a decade.
Is it very similar, yeah?
Oh, yeah. In terms of this, I feel this is sometimes playing it, I forget that I'm actually not playing Assassin's Creed. And that's not a bad thing, and I'll come on to that. So, what I'm going to start to say, when you first start the game, really nice touch this, you actually have different options for playing the game. You have standard, where everybody speaks English. You have subtitled. You have Samurai Cinema, where it's...
This is the black and white, isn't it?
No. The Samurai Cinema is where everybody talks Japanese with English subtitles. And then you have Kurosawa mode, which is the Japanese subtitles in black and white with film grain, and it's done as a homage to Akira Kurosawa, who's obviously, for Japanese cinema.
Yeah, director, yeah.
Now, the weird thing is that it's difficult to play in the samurai cinema mode because the mouthing of the characters is in English.
I'd heard that.
Yeah, so you actually see the effect of subtitles, of a subbed movie, but with Japanese and the Japanese characters, and it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
I just went straight for standard mode.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah, and I would recommend that because, to be honest, sometimes there's a lot going on, and the last thing you want to be doing is reading subtitles while you're also trying to do battle as well.
Well, I've heard the acting is supposed to be really well done, the voice acting.
Yeah, the voice characters and everything, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading and hearing.
Yeah. Now, although the control layout is very different to the Creed games, in terms of what buttons to press and everything, the way it feels, the way it plays, has a very much a passing resemblance or a homage or whatever to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is obviously one of the best 2 Assassin's Creed games that you could possibly go for.
Yeah.
The game has the obligatory skill trees, which are really well laid out. There are different types of skill trees. There is ones for being the ghost, there's ones for being a samurai and all of that. You can attribute points when you level up, from killing so many leaders or whatever. But there are different ways that you can actually do this, and you've obviously got a great deal of choice in terms of what you do. Some of the skills, like the fighting stances, they come around a lot more seldom than other ones. But what I particularly liked was the concept of learning the different fighting styles while you play and the different combat moves, as they make the learning curve more even. What it means is that you can power up in line with the story, so it still feels like it's fitting. What I would say is of note is that changing your stance of your character to suit different enemies is really tremendously effective.
Okay.
If you just stick with one stance, like for example the default one that you get right at the beginning, even if you've leveled up, if you go against a shielded enemy or a speared enemy, your ability to take that guy down is going to be seriously inhibited. Now, changing your stance is really quite easy. It's holding down I think it's either R1 or R2, and then you use X, circle, triangle or square to change that stance, depending upon which one you've unlocked and when. So my best recommendation in terms of all of this is, in order to learn the different stances, the way that you learn them is either, because there's 2 routes, is either to first off kill a leader in a Mongol camp. You do that, you get 1 point towards it. When you first start off, you've got to get like 4 or 5 points in order to be able to learn the water stance, for example.
Yeah.
But, and I picked up on this by my second one to level up, and probably later on, you'll probably actually see it if you watch, my next lot of videos rather than the first lot. Yeah. The other way you can learn the skill is to observe the leader practicing the moves.
Okay.
So if you go stealthily into a village or an encampment and you find the leader, it gives you the option to hold R2. Now, when you hold R2, it then a bar starts to go across of the words R2 that appear on screen, and once that's done, you've finished observing that character. Okay. What that will then do is unlock 1 block out of however many that you need to unlock to be able to get that move. But, and this is where the real skill of it comes, is if you sneak into the village and observe them, you can then kill them and get 2 blocks instead of 1.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so you can actually double your time.
So there's no leveling really in the game, is there? You kind of just get more skilled.
Yes.
like not leveling like in Assassin's Creed where you go like level 70, level 18, and
No,
the characters
not
level
really that.
with you. So you just
No.
basically improve your like it's like just getting better at being a samurai, I suppose, really.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
Now,
that. That's an interesting take on it.
here's where it gets interesting. While I've said that the game, in terms of exploration and just general feel about, the fact that you've got a map, the missions, the way that they're set out in your journal is very similar to the way that the missions were set out in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay.
You can go into the map. Obviously, the map is massively smaller than Assassin's Creed.
Oh, thank God for that.
But still big. But when you actually look at the map, you can click on icons and navigate to those sort of places, just like you would have done on Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Right.
And the horse riding feels very Assassin's Creed Odyssey like. Some of the climbing feels like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You can't just climb anything that's in front of you like you can in Assassin's Creed. There's certain sort of like ledges and stuff like that. But then it differentiates out. So,
but sorry, enough cutting off, Hayden. Do you have like those synchronization things for opening up the map or anything?
No, you don't have sync points. What you do is, I'll come on to that in a second.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
all right, because there's something else I want to explain about charms and stuff like that. So, the combat. Now, the combat is different to Assassin's Creed. And I would say the combat has a passing resemblance to Batman Arkham series.
Oh, okay. I like
that. Because it's quite timed in terms of how you do stuff.
Yeah.
So, and you get into a flow. You can button mash if you really want to, but you get into a flow and it's much more sort of identifying who's going to attack you from what direction.
Okay.
And that there's no lock on this game at all, so you can't lock on an enemy or anything like that.
Oh, is there?
But no, you can't do that. If you're struggling with that, what I would suggest that you do is go into options and turn the camera mode on to fast movement rather than to the slow.
Okay.
On what is set default. But personally, I'm just using default. I'm quite happy with it. But I feel that the combat is like a derivative of the way that the Arkham sort of combat is. It's very very much sort of flowing and stuff like that. Now, what I will say is take out archers as quick as you can. They are absolute people who do not know the parents. Let's put it that way. They what they'll tend to do is when they're going to shoot, they will shout that they're going to shoot, and then a couple of seconds later, they'll fire the arrow. They very rarely miss unless you do a dodge at the right time.
Okay.
So, and they will take down your health really quickly. But what you can do is learn the parry skill to be able to deflect any incoming arrows.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, but that's going to be 2 or 3 sort of like ticks off further down your skill tree, or one of the skill trees. So you've got all of that. So, but the combat's really great. You have standoffs in the game now. Where if you come up to some enemies, you have an option of you can either run away from them, hide and kill them. Right. Or you can go the samurai way, which is to confront them. If you confront them, you'll go and you press up on the D-pad, you'll go into a standoff. When you're in a standoff, then you hold down the triangle button, and then this is where it gets a bit dicey if you miss time stuff. So you hold down the triangle button, and when one of them when the first guy who's coming towards you comes to attack you, you release the triangle button, and then you will basically chop him in two. Not literally, but you sort of go through him, and that'll be him taken out. Now, when you get more advanced, you can actually unlock the ability to chain that to a second and a third person. And later on in the game, you can get armor, which will allow you to do it up to 5 people. Sometimes these groups are only in groups of 4 or 5 anyway. Okay. So you could actually go through a whole group and just do a standoff and kill them all. But you have to be timing it right. when you're playing it, but if you do, the result is very satisfying. There's also another suit that if you're wearing that one, I think it's the same one that gives you up to 5. If you do kill all 5, it encourages the other ones that are left to run away from you anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I've heard that, but I haven't actually seen that yet. But the standoffs are absolutely, absolutely brilliant. And they feel very sort of like Japanese sort of martial arts movie-ish when you're actually watching it as well, because the way that they're, I want to say shot, but, the way that they're acted out in terms of on screen.
Right.
One area where the fighting is like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is your ability to heal when you're fighting. So if you remember on Odyssey, you would build up a bar.
Yeah.
And then you would get, several, depending upon what level you are, you would get more and more little bars. And that one use of one bar would be to heal, for example.
Yeah.
Now, this game, in terms of the fighting, is like that. But instead of bars, you have little circles. And in order to charge up your circle, you've got to kill enemies. Yeah. But also you can learn additional skills. Like, for example, I've got one now where you press circle and triangle, and it sort of like makes Jin rush forward with a cutting motion. And it very often, on most enemies, it'll kill. It's only like the captains that it won't do that. So that, that's one. And another, I've said before about the difference in the quests and that, it's Jin's sort of story.
Right.
But in terms of this game, you have, much like in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you will have the main story, which is Jin's story. And then you've got Tales of Tsushima for helping people on the island and building your legend. And then you've got Mythic Tales, where you seek out musicians and hear the legend of long-lost treasures, which you can then go and locate on the island. By listening to what their song is, it'll give you an indication of, what to do.
Are they like small side stories, or are they substantial side stories?
I would say some of them are, it depends. Some of the tales can be quite short, for 5 or 10 minutes. Whereas I went on one for this Mythic Bow, which has a boss fight at the end of it where you fight this like demon character, and because the bow's supposed to be cursed, and that lasted quite a while because it involved a lot of travel. I was getting to a point in the game where I was thinking, I know one thing that's peeing me off about this game is there's no fast travel, but there is fast travel in it as well.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, that's handy, but especially when you've got to go from one end of the island to the other. So, you can fast travel to locations. Now, you mentioned about the map. Now, the way that the map works is the island is covered by the fog of war.
Right.
And as you search the island, you uncover more and more of the fog of war. You'll find hot springs which allow you to regenerate, and then you meditate and you get more health, so that the next time, that's how one of the ways that you increase your health, all of that sort of stuff. So there's all of that built into the game. Like I said, there's also these the kind of like obstacle courses, best way to describe it, but to find some charms. So charms are really important things, and one to get really early in the game is the Arrow Peak Shrine charm, because what that does is it doubles the amount of resources that you gather when you're out collecting resources. So let's say if you picked up a load of bamboo, you come across very much like, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where you'd be riding along and you'd see rocks and you'd see trees.
Yeah,
and you just press a button and pick it up. This is exactly the same.
Oh, I like that. That's a good mechanic.
And you can be riding your horse and you don't have to stop and that sort of stuff.
Because you had to stop when you were playing Red Dead Redemption and stuff. Used to annoy me.
Yeah, you don't have to do this in this game.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's say that you would get, say, 4 bamboo for getting that tree, or 4 yew. You'll get 8 instead. It'll
Oh, it
double.
doubles up, yeah.
Yeah.
Like extra XP, I
Yeah.
suppose, in a way.
Uh,
Okay.
well, it doubles the resources. So
Yeah.
basically, what that means is that you're going to be able to, level up all of your equipment, and it works for everything. So bear hides, all of that sort of stuff. So it's that's really, really worth getting, and that's at Arrow Peak Shrine.
Mm.
And then there's also another one, which another charm, which you can get, which will regenerate your health slowly when you're not in combat, which you're not able to get regenerating health unless you get that.
Okay.
Now, here's something what I like that what they've done with the outfits is, in terms of the outfits, what they've done is they all also have different functions. So if you're using like the traveler's outfit,
Yeah.
And you can upgrade the outfits as well, and you can actually see the visual difference every time you upgrade the outfit. But for example, if you're using the traveler's outfit, it unlocks 20% more of the fog of war when you're wandering around.
So it's like a gear set, really.
Yeah.
From this, from the Division and stuff. You wear a certain outfit, you have more perks.
Yes, that's like a perk of that. So that's what I was saying before about the one of the outfits you can do more standoffs by wearing that outfit.
Can you change outfits on the fly?
Yeah, change them as much as you like.
Mid
Just
battle, or
no. I haven't tried mid battle.
Just wondering, would you like change up your abilities?
If I'm to be honest, I'm just rocking the traveller's outfit the whole way, unless the game
for the fog of war, is it?
Yeah, unless the game forces me to use something else. I mean, I've worn a samurai outfit, but it's mostly that one that I've been working because I just keep forgetting to change the outfits.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going in to do like is it the ghost samurai, like assassin? At night time, can you change outfit to have more perks as a ghost?
Yes, because there's ones that will, make it like 40% easier to shake, being tailed and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like, would you not can you change before you go into certain missions?
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Would that be part of the game, or is that just something you'd like? Do you think that's what they want to do?
I think that's what they want you to do. That's why they've given you these sort of outfits.
Like in the Assassin's Creed, you can sit meditation, turn to nighttime.
Yeah.
And then you could go. It was easy. They'd let them sleep at nighttime. You could take them out easier and stuff.
Yeah. So you can get a stealth outfit, for example. Okay. Yeah, and you get masks and stuff like that.
I like things stealth. I'd probably play this game stealth.
While I like the stealth, and it does feel quite like Assassin's Creed Odyssey does some of the stealth, it's not quite as advanced. And I actually like the just going in there as a samurai and, knocking 7 bells out of them, basically. It's great. But that charm that I said about regenerating health, that's east of the samurai who gives you the bow. So if you go east from there, you'll find where the charm area is. There's another thing, that there's foxtails as well that you get. And there's lots of these. And if you follow the fox, it takes you to a shrine and you get something at the end of it.
Okay.
And the best thing to do as well, and they've got this really neat integration into the touchpad. And there is actually a trophy for bowing at every sort of like hidden location, at the shrines. And to bow, you just move your finger up on the touchpad.
Cool.
And your navigation isn't done by an arrow; it's done by the direction of the wind.
Yeah, I'd seen that.
If you want to see, you want to be able to get into a direction, you just move left on the touchpad, and then it makes the wind blow, and you can follow the wind there.
That's an interesting technique, like that.
So it's. I'm absolutely loving this game. I mean, graphically, the environments are really lush. When you look at the grass, and you see how much grass there are. Yeah,
the colours look vibrant.
Yeah, when you think about how you used to get like 3 blades of grass, and you think, my God, that's photorealistic. This is much better. It's got excellent detail, and it's really densely populated, with stuff. Character-wise, the characters are not as good as The Last of Us.
Okay.
But they still look really good, I think. The environments, the vistas and stuff like that, the lighting, it doesn't meet some of that was demonstrated prior to release most of the time, but you do get the odd moments, I have to admit. Sound-wise, the game's amazing. I mean, I'm listening on my Dolby Digital setup, and it's brilliant. Some of the modelling just isn't there, as I said, with... There have been several times I was trying to weave myself through bamboo clusters, only to realise that it didn't matter because even though it was drawing that there was bamboo, trees in front of me, I could pass through them, when I was riding on a horse. It was more to do with the effect of it, I think, more than anything else. Character AI is okay, but sometimes the AI has no idea who they should be fighting, while other times they'll be on your backside like a hive of bees and you've smothered your bum with honey. They'll be all over you. The stealth's a bit rudimentary in comparison to like Assassin's Creed, where they've obviously been doing that a lot longer. But the game, it doesn't feel like it was published by the creators of Infamous.
Right.
Or, Sucker Punch. It just doesn't feel like one of their games. It feels much more Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed to me. Okay. Story-wise, the game's absolutely fantastic. It builds tension in the game. And I have to say that this is in my top 3 PlayStation games ever.
Already? Wow.
Yeah. I have to admit. It's
good. I have to get it.
Loving it. Absolutely loving the game. I think, considering you love the
I'm massive. See, this ticks all the boxes for me now. The only downside is trying to find time to play it, because I'm guessing it's a big game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's 45 hours, something like that, I understand.
Yeah, but that's probably if you don't have my OCD, CDO issues where you have to check everything.
Yeah,
that usually doubles.
Yeah, because if you want to, there's plenty to be able to scratch your OCD itch as well.
Yeah, CDO, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Can't wait to play. Great description.
Yeah. To me, this is taking out the PlayStation on the best high that it could have done.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that there's a patch to work on the PS5 as well, with ray tracing and all of that thrown in, because
there has to be for both games. There has to be.
Yeah,
it's madness if they don't.
Yeah, or they do a remaster or something, but it needs.
No, if you have this game bought on so close to the new one, you should be able to play this on the 5 with the upgrades for free.
Yeah,
it's not right if they don't. Hayden.
I mean, I know that Infamous hasn't been transferred to PC, but if this follows Death Stranding and the other games that have, I'll be getting this on PC. Yeah, I'll be getting this on PC.
Okay.
If it does get released, it's brilliant. So
that's good. I'm looking forward to it now. I'm going to try and pick it up next couple of days if I can.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, any other gaming stuff or?
Not for me. No, I think that's a good bit there. I think.
I think so. Okay, let's move on to movies, TV, and streaming. All right, so I think we're both getting tired now, so we'll rush through this a little bit more.
Yeah.
Couple of quick bits of news. The Russo brothers have explained why Secret Wars could bring them back, and evidently, when Anthony and Joe Russo were promoting Avengers Endgame, they made it clear that this would be their final Marvel movie for a while. However, the directors did tell MTV that there was one comic adaptation that they would love to return to, which in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is for Secret Wars.
Oh, I loved that comic series.
Yeah. Now, Joe Russo couldn't help but reiterate his admiration for the 84 comic series, admitting that the first Secret Wars he read when he was 10 or 11 and was immediately enthralled by the scale of getting all of the heroes together. It was one of the first major books to do so that was really event storytelling to him at its finest. And what happens when you put all of those personalities together? He loved the idea of having the villains team up with the heroes, and also the complicated. Oh, sorry, that was Anthony Russo, and also the complicated relationships between the heroes and villains. You know, we like villains who believe they're heroes in their own stories.
Yeah.
So it's all, you know, sort of built into the notion of Secret Wars.
That's some cast though, like Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. Like that has like X-Men. They were all in Secret Wars. That was a mass. Wolverine was in there, if I remember.
Well, the X-Men were generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking of X-Men, and we haven't put this in the news, but evidently James McAvoy has said that he'd be interested in playing the younger Captain Jean-Luc Picard in a Next Generation reboot, which is
I was reading about that
as well. Yeah, and for consistency's sake, that'd be brilliant.
It would be bad, wouldn't it? No,
it wouldn't be bad at all. Thinking about going back to Spider-Man, though. Tom Holland has provided a major update when the third Spider-Man movie will finish filming. Spider-Man 3, which I think a lot of people are dubbing as the rise of J. Jonah Jameson, is set to arrive on November the 5th, 2021, with production scheduled to begin this year. But before he can do the next film, he has to shoot Uncharted, the video game adaptation of Nathan Drake. And Spider-Man 3 was originally scheduled for the 16th of July as part of the highly anticipated Phase 4 for the MCU.
Phase 4, yeah.
Yeah, and we do know evidently that Zendaya will also be returning to the cast as MJ, and also fully expect Marcia Tomei to reprise her role as Aunt May as well.
Yeah, I like her as Aunt May. She was good.
I do, but she's a much more sexy Aunt May than Aunt May was previously in the Tobey Maguire days.
It'll be interesting to see if cinemas actually show these, and if they actually go to movies. I don't know how far away that is, movie cinemas and stuff next year. I think it'll be a lot of streaming still.
Well, they're open here in some places now.
They're not, are they?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't like going.
I suppose it depends upon how they're actually setting them up.
They're not open here, anyway. So there's no movies or nothing being shown. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I hope Secret Wars goes ahead. That could be massive, especially with the Russo brothers.
Well, they've started that with Captain Marvel, haven't they?
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, do you want to do the cinema releases and the Blu-rays?
Yeah, I'm just going to throw in a bit of news there as well that Tenet has been indefinitely delayed. No, the new Christopher Nolan, new Christopher Nolan movie. I'm very sad for him for this movie. This movie had potential to be massive this summer, and I think he's getting very frustrated because he doesn't want it to go to streaming. He's holding off big time. He's the one that's not letting him release it for the streaming services, because I've heard Netflix and Apple are offering massive money for it.
Do you know what? I think he should just go for it for streaming because we want to see it.
I think so too. But now it's indefinite. August 12th was the last date.
Yeah.
But because now what's happening in the States, like Los Angeles now, I think, has just been announced they're going to be going on for a massive lockdown again.
But unless he's bankrolling it, which he won't be, it'll be the studios, he might not have the say.
I think he has a big say in his movies. He's got a lot of power, Haydn. You know? He's massive in the IMAX and all that kind of stuff. He's got a big say in all that kind of stuff. He's made a lot of money for them over the years, you know.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the power of the studio at the end of the day. They employ him.
I really want to see it. The more I watch that trailer and I read about it, I'm fascinated by it.
I am as well.
I actually watched Interstellar there recently because they're on Sky Movies. They haven't been loaded. And I'd forgotten that's a great movie, Interstellar.
Yeah.
Even though it's considered one of his weaker ones, I loved it. I thought my second viewing, third viewing there now of it.
It's definitely a movie in two parts.
Yeah. But it holds up though.
Yeah.
It's really good, the acting, the story, the twist at the end.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think and it's visually, it's so well done.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'll go to cinema releases anyway, and there's actually cinema releases as well. American coming out 20th of July is American Fighter. Then on the same is 7 Days to Vegas, and then on the 24th of July is Stage Mother. None of those really look. I haven't heard nothing about them. Have you?
No.
So, and they're going to be out in cinema in England, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, fair play. So we're going to Blu-ray releases.
Yep.
So on July 20th, Bloodstone is coming out. You've also got the Curb Your Enthusiasm Season 3 on DVD. You've also got It Could Happen Here on Blu-ray DVD.
That's the Pet Shop Boys one.
The Pet Shop Boys one, yeah. You've got the Quantum Leap, the complete collection on DVD. Spartacus 60th anniversary of that movie. That's 60 years old, is it?
Yeah.
I love that movie. It's very good. Oh, and then you've got also coming out the Neverending Story 1 and 2 on DVD. I love the first one, Neverending Story 1. It's a great movie. So
and actually, there's a 3 Outlaw Samurai as well. I forgot to.
Okay, is there?
Yeah.
Oh yes, the Crichton Collection 3 Outlaw Samurai. Yeah, Blu-ray restored. And then you've got a few of the Will and Graces and a few others. There's a few things coming out. Nothing massive, but
no, but
a few things.
I would love to own Quantum Leap. Though that'd be a good collection to have.
And they're in talks to remake that, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Hope they do. That was a great series. I never liked the end of it though. The final episode. It was very
it was. Yeah, I don't think they knew how to end it.
I don't think they either. No,
because I think him jumping back into his body would have been a bit cliched, and him, to me, it was a difficult one to end. I think.
Yeah, it's still a great series though.
Yeah.
So, do you want to jump into the charts for?
Yeah. So, in terms of the cinema charts, because we've got those again, and this is really unusual, but we've got Dirty Dancing at number 5. At number 4, we've got Blackwater Abyss. At number 3, we've got Trolls World Tour. At number 2, we've got Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back 40th Anniversary. And then at number 1, we've got Onward.
Yeah, Onward's not bad. I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah,
Pixar.
Yeah. Blu-ray DVD charts, we've got Star Trek Shorts at number 5. At number 4, we've got American Psycho. At number 3, Ready Player One. At number 2, Captain Marvel. And at number 1, Endgame. So it's interesting that everybody's going back to those now, aren't they?
Yeah, and Ready Player One, the new book is coming out soon. Ready Player 2. He's going to actually do it. It'll be interesting to see how he does that.
Well, we were talking on the thing, and somebody said, because it's been like, how could it work? Someone said, is it going to be a sequel? I said, well, surely it would have to be called Press Start to Continue if it was going to be a prequel. That would be the better name.
I think Ready Player 2 is probably the best name for it. Yeah, cool. So, what have you been watching? Are we moving on to this?
I'll just mention probably one thing, I think, because I've got sort of like 3 things on now. I watched Top Secret. That's a classic movie. Never seen that.
It's very good.
Yeah, parody of World War II spy movies, starring Val Kilmer, Peter Cushing, and Omar Sharif. I always think it's such an unusual Omar Sharif role.
Yeah.
I watched The Old Guard with Charlie Theron. That's not bad. Well worth.
I enjoyed it. I actually watched it myself 2 nights ago. I kind of watched it over 2 nights, half and half.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was good. She's very good in it.
She is. I mean, she plays an immortal mercenary who's in charge of a group of immortal mercenaries who get found out about, and people try to capture them just as, a new unexpected member is discovered.
Yeah, she's an immortal, and it was funny. I kind of thought it was a spin-off to Hancock with Will Smith, where she played a very similar kind of immortal, through the ages.
Yeah,
it's done very well for Netflix, and they're already doing the sequel.
Yeah, I think that's good because it kind of like got left on a cliffhanger. It's just
but it was a good. I have to say, no, it was like an old school action movie. It didn't rely on special effects too much and stuff. It was good,
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I watched All a Warrior Nun,
Yeah.
and that just really suddenly ended, and I thought, no, I want to see what else happens. It
Yeah.
was only about 10 episodes.
I haven't watched it. My wife loved it. She watched all of it. She really
Yeah,
enjoyed it because she tried to watch. She said the new one called Cursed or something, and it's terrible. She said
yeah,
she couldn't watch any more of it. She watched a half an hour, the full episode, and it was nonsense. So she said she's not going back to it.
fair dues. Um, the other big thing that I watched this week, which is obviously in the charts, is Star Trek Short
Oh
Treks.
yeah, I'm start that. You out for that? I just thought of that.
Yeah, I'd pre-ordered this one, so it came on a day of release, and
Mm,
basically almost all of the short treks that have been released are on it.
mm.
So you've got Runaway Calypso, The Brightest Star, The Escape Artist, Q&A, The Trouble with Edward, Ask Not, Ephraim and Dot, and The Girl Who Made the Stars. But you don't have Children of Mars.
Yeah, but are they not all the ones from the first season?
No,
What's
season 1 and 2.
which one was the cartoon? So Below Deck.
That
I don't.
was the
What's
last two, wasn't it? Ephraim and Mars and The Girl Who Made the Stars.
That's the cartoon, was it? I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I
There was,
watched them.
I think there was 2 cartoons.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But they had, The Trouble with Edward and Ask Not and Q&A. They were all the Christopher Pike sort of crew.
Yeah. Was that which one was Spock in the lift?
I think that was Q&A.
Yeah, that was a great episode where they sing
Yeah.
the song. That was
Yeah.
very good. Number one.
It
I
definitely was.
really enjoyed that episode. Or short.
Yeah.
And the nice thing, they released the trailer as well for the Below Deck. I watched
Yes.
that. That looks so good, Hayden. We might do something on that.
Yeah, I'm looking
Because
forward to
they're
that.
bringing in the Borg and a few things to it. So there'll be a bit of canon involved in that show, I think.
I don't know, Star Trek cartoons have generally not been held as canon.
I know, yeah, but like they're going to bring in characters from other series and shows, I think, which will be fun.
Yeah.
You know, it looks good. I'm not a massive that style of humor, but I have to say, no, I like the trailer.
Yeah. So, the thing is about all of these short treks is that they all link to, or most of them link to episodes that are actually in the main show, either season 1 or 2.
They're actually nicely linked as well. It's very well done.
Yeah, they are. One of them actually is very relevant towards the end. I was thinking the end of season 2. With Tilly's friend. I forgot what she's called.
Oh yeah, and then there's the one is it 1,000 years in the future that links to season 3.
Yeah,
which is very well done.
Yeah,
and he's in season 3.
Yes.
So I mean, it's kind of like what Marvel do, really, isn't it? At the end of their movies.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I would like to see them show more of the other characters on the bridge of Discovery, because, to be honest, you only really know Burnham.
That's true.
Suru, the Doctor, Stamets, Tilly, and beyond that, and the other ones, the chick who looks like she's half Borg, and the black guy who's at the other side of the room, the robot. Because when she died in it, because she wasn't a robot, was she? She was like a human encased in a robotic shell because of something that happened to her. But it's that's all that you can do is just refer to them as that, because they never got any character development, and so her death in it didn't really feel the impact it should have done, I think. But
I must watch season 2 again. That's a bloody great show.
Well, actually, I've got season 2 on Blu-ray now.
But are the shorts not on Netflix now? I can't remember.
I think that the shorts might be, but I just wanted it to have it because it's a collection, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I understand that. I was just wondering myself.
Yeah, but the strange thing is that they've left off Children of Mars, and I think that that's because that directly links to Picard. And I'm wondering if it'll be a Blu-ray release on a Blu-ray release for Picard, if and when they do that. The Blu-ray disc also contains commentaries and special features, but discounting the audio commentaries, the special features total a total running time of an hour, while in some of the cases being marketed as region restricted, the releases are actually in a region free, as it's increasingly become more commonplace with the Blu-ray
Yeah.
format anyway. But it's a good disc. It's a good disc to have.
How much was that?
It's about £14, £15.
It's about €20. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, definitely worth one. Worth it being one in your collection.
Mm.
What about yourself? Have you watched anything?
I watched, as you said, The Old Guard kind of over 2 nights, but the one I was really looking forward to is the new Tom Hanks movie Greyhound on Apple, because I'd seen the trailer at the start of the year, so I love an old war movie, and then obviously COVID and Apple paid big money then and purchased it.
Yeah.
So this is a 2020 American war film directed by Aaron Schneider. It's starring Tom Hanks, who also wrote the screenplay, and the film is based on the 1955 novel The Good Shepherd, which I've actually downloaded the audiobook now to listen to because I enjoyed the movie. So the plot follows a Navy commander on his first time war assignment in command of a multinational escort group defending merchant ship convoy under attack by the German submarines in early 1942 during the famous battles of the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of happens only a few months after the US officially entered World War II. Now, it was officially scheduled to be released in the States on June 12th by Sony Pictures, but was delayed, as I just said, due to the pandemic. And then the rights were sold to the Apple TV Plus. That's a terrible name, I think, for that. Apple TV Plus. They bought the rights for digital, and it came out on July 10th. For me, it actually felt like felt like the old style, old-fashioned war movies.
Yeah.
That was very much heavily reliant on kind of digital technology for the effects. Now, this type of movie, for me, it's kind of hard to resist, especially when I heard the team that was behind the show. I was intrigued, but I was also kind of cautious then when I heard that Tom Hanks wrote the script, even though he's a fantastic actor. He's kind of done, his screenplays are kind of, he did the screenplays for That Thing You Do, the kind of the Beatles, or that, I don't know if you've seen that old style. I think his son actually stars in it as well, about a band trying to become famous, and he also did that other terrible one with Julia Roberts, Larry Crowne. So he's not really known for his script writing, but I think his script suits this movie because there's not much dialogue in it, to be honest with you. This movie just is relentless. The premise of the film revolves around the fact that Captain Cruz, played by Tom Hanks, he's very inexperienced, but he'll stop. Like, he's like the typical American. He'll stop at nothing to make sure he can get them all safely across the ocean. But they're being hunted by the U-boats, and he has to kind of make the right decisions, either save the casualties or save the ships at certain moments in time. He has to make those quick decisions. Now, the movie's very short, which it's only about, if you take the credits out of it, it's 81 minutes long.
Right.
But like I said, the pacing is the beauty of this movie. It kind of reminded me of Crimson Tide meets Mad Max. Like Mad Max was relentless when the chase scene starts. That's basically how I felt this movie was. It was really engaging. Where I felt again with the movie issue, the biggest issues, I think, is the screenplay by Tom Hanks. It's not a terrible screenplay, like the writing isn't terrible, but there's not much to the story. Basically, it's basically told over 36 hours. They kind of stand up on the bridge. He shouts all these directions and numbers at people, right rudder 300 and all that kind of stuff. Torpedo in the water. You don't really get much of the characters flushed out. You don't really get much of their backstories. You don't really learn much about Tom Hanks, really. You only see like a 30-second moment at the start of it with a woman that he wants to come home to. And that's about it. Like, it's a lot of mumbling between characters and stuff. But it's just, the action in it's fantastic. That there's torpedoes bouncing off the side of ships, and the taunting from the wolf. One of the ships is called the Wolf, and he taunts them over the radio, and then they've got like 36 hours to get through a section of water where they've got no air cover, and once they get air cover, then the submarines can't attack. And you can see there's scenes where there's like 15 or 20 submarines just tailing the convoy, and they're just like a pack of wolves just waiting to attack. It's very well done. Loads of aerial shots of the battles. There's one scene where the submarine goes right up close past the Greyhound, the name of the ship that Tom Hanks is doing, and the submarine is up over the water, but it's so close to the ship that their guns can't hit it. So it just like glides past it, and then it dives again, like the movie Jaws, like the shark.
Yeah.
I know this movie was very hit and miss. I think it's very Marmite again. It didn't get rave reviews, but for me, this is the perfect a dad movie. It's just a great old-fashioned war movie. Really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. I would kind of compare it to like Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk in the storytelling, if you know what I mean. There's not a lot of storytelling in Dunkirk. It was kind of a lot of different set pieces that came together in the end, if you've ever watched that movie.
Yeah.
But you were kind of on the edge of your seat during the movie, during the set pieces. Very much similar to that Greyhound. It's streaming on Apple TV. I don't know, there's not a lot of people have that service, but it's after becoming a massive hit for them. It's like, I think they hit like 80 million people have either bought it, because you see, I think the smart move with Apple TV was you pay for your service to stream it like you do with Netflix, but they obviously don't have the numbers that Disney have or Netflix has. So they were actually renting it or selling it through iTunes. So they actually made more money by selling it, I think.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in purchasing it, I highly recommend it or rent it. It's well worth the watch. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing I've watched. I haven't watched any TV shows or series or anything.
Well, you've been far too busy.
I have been too busy, way too busy, unfortunately. Yeah. But like I said, I just got to get till the end of September and get over. That's if we make it the end of September.
Yeah.
We'll see how the numbers go. They're saying we'll go back to phase 2 in 3 weeks if the numbers keep going up. So hopefully that won't happen. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. I hope some of you have watched it or will watch it and enjoy it. Like I said, it's leave your brain at the door, sit down and just enjoy a good action movie.
Yeah. Go with the flow.
Yeah, but the action is really, really good in it. Really good. And Tom Hanks is as watchable as ever. He really is.
Yeah. Evidently, he really wasn't happy about it going on to Apple TV
no,
as well.
He fought it, but I think now, I read yesterday or the day before, I saw a couple of tweets. It's done so well. It actually, from what they were saying, the predicted opening box office the first weekend, it's actually made more on the streaming service than it would have on the opening they were predicting to open on. So because it actually kind of came out of nowhere. It was. I think it filmed very fast. The script was done very fast. So look, again, if it makes money, he'll be happy, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
That's it. That's what I've watched now. So
okay, cool. Right, well, in that case, then, shall we move on to our listener questions?
Right, I have them here yet. Will I read them?
Yep. Do you want to start off with Mark's?
Yep. So a question from Mark. 2 questions from Mark, actually. The first one is, what is the future of VR? ? Has it performed in the market as well as the likes of Sony and Valve have hoped? I'm not a VR. I don't have any of the devices. I've just kind of seen people playing it and talking about it and stuff. I think it's done quite well, and I think is it the Quest, the new Oculus Quest or something, seems to have pushed it a lot further, and the release of Half-Life Alyx, that game has really helped it as well. But I don't think it's going to be as big in the next generation consoles, maybe PC, but unless Xbox do something now with this new Facebook collaboration.
I think that's a strong possibility, but
yeah.
I mean, I've got the PSVR and I've got the Microsoft version of it as well. And I would say it has its place, but it's much more niche, I think. I think that this is like 3D TV. Some people really like 3D TV. Everybody else couldn't care less.
But how often do you use your PlayStation VR?
I can't remember the last time I had it on.
Yeah, you see, I think it's like the Kinect. Well, a bit more popular than the Kinect, obviously. Like they have some fantastic games for it. But I think, again, it's like an impulse buy, really, isn't it? You see an offer and you purchase it, kind of thing. I can't say preferable.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest about it. It was a considered purchase, but
okay.
In order to have the room to be able to use it, it's got to be in the living room, and if it's in the living room, that's away from my Pro. So it's set up in the living room to be able to use, but because the wife's in there most of the time, I just tend to forget about it.
I think that's why the Quest maybe has done so well, because there's no connectivity to anything.
Yeah.
It's all wireless, isn't it?
Yeah, but the graphics aren't as good.
I heard, but what I've been
reading, that's the Oculus Go, isn't it? Not the Quest.
Yes, the Quest is supposed to have really good visuals, like supposed to be very clear.
And you can also stream to the Quest from your PC as well.
Yeah, and now they're after releasing, you can use any USB-C cable to it now to connect to a stronger, to be able to play Alex Half-Life properly or something. Before you had to buy a certain cable, but now you can use any USB-C cable.
I thought you could wirelessly connect.
No, to play those more powerful games. Just the Quest only had certain amount of games, you couldn't play all of them. Right. But now you can get the cable to connect a USB-C cable to the graphics card, and then you can play the stronger games now, the more powerful ones on it.
Yeah.
So that was recently. So yeah. Second question from Mark is, what has been your favorite game for
peripheral?
Peripheral. Sorry, I can't say that word. Peripheral through the years. Like I suppose the what you call it, peripheral, the Elite controller.
Yeah.
The second Elite controller has been one of my favorites I've ever had. Yeah, I'd go with that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yourself?
I'm gonna go unusual on mine. I'm going to say the G-Con on the original PlayStation.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Which was such a funky controller. Do you remember it at all?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
It had analog input on 2 buttons, and it also turned in the middle.
That's
and
right.
It was designed as an alternative to a steering wheel. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, that turning action that it did really felt good when you were actually using it on like Ridge Racer and stuff like that. It made it feel very natural. I can't quite explain why, but I really enjoyed that as a controller.
Yeah.
And I still have it somewhere. So
good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, Paul's next question is, would it be a good idea for Microsoft to add a dual operating feature to the new Xbox, a version of Windows operating system with the option to hook up a keyboard and mouse, and then surely the potential, host of new users, etc. to that. Sorry, I've missed out some of the last bit of his question is because it's got a C more. I didn't catch on that. But what do we think about if Microsoft gave the ability to add Steam or Uplay or?
But isn't that just a PC? Like, you technically can use your Microsoft app on your PC, and you could. So technically, to me, dual screen load up or dual operating system is like a PC, no?
Yeah, but effectively it would be a PC at the point of if it booted up into Windows. I mean, it boots up into Xbox boots into Windows anyway. It's just Windows with a fancy front screen.
But why would you want to do that on an Xbox when you can?
Because then you could bring your PC library to your Xbox.
But you already have it on your PC.
If you have a PC.
Yeah, but I suppose, yeah. I'd prefer to see it if they could bring an app, just like bring it over and have the Epic app, and you click on it and then you open up into your library and then you can play everything. Because I'm sure the architecture could do that.
I'm sure they'd be able to do PC emulation from within the custom version of Windows 10 that the operating system runs.
Yeah. I'd prefer if they brought out like the Steam app and the Epic app, and you could have your entire library in there just by signing in.
That would be good.
And have it as a cross-platform. And that, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft eventually go that way. The way they are at the moment, they're definitely getting ahead of the game of that kind of stuff,
Or even if they're linked in with like the Steam streaming that you can do on, from your PC
Yeah.
to, another Steam device. So you can
Yeah.
or, if you've got the Steam TV thing, which I still have, actually.
Yeah.
But that's a great way of, transferring the picture across, and it's really quick, very little latency on it.
Yeah.
So it'd be good. It'd be good if they could do that. Yeah, definitely. Do you want to do Richards?
Yeah, Richard Martlock, what's the best VR experience you've had had game wise or video wise, excluding VR porn? Lol. I've just had, the usual, my brother's place and friends. I've tried a couple of them. I'm not the biggest fan, so I'm not the best to answer that question, Hayden.
I suppose that I'm more in the ballpark for this one, aren't I?
Yeah.
I have to admit, I have no idea what VR porn is like. I haven't bothered looking at it. It's not something that appeals to me. But in terms of actual gameplay, what's the best VR game? I'm going to have to say the Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Okay, yeah. I've seen videos of it. I'd love to try that Beat Saber. That looks fun.
Beat Saber's good, but it's just another rhythm action game at the end of the day. Whereas there's more variety in Star Trek Bridge Crew. And I'll tell you another game that is fantastic in VR, and VR really does lift the game, and that is Elite Dangerous.
Oh, yeah, in the cockpit. That would be cool.
Yeah, because it puts everything in that perspective. And, when you look at the screen on Elite Dangerous and you see, like, the docking computer, you don't actually realise that you're actually looking at something that's like a 50-inch screen in front of you when you're actually in VR, which you suddenly realise how big it is. And the whole thing of going into, the Coriolis space station when you're going through the letterbox opening and stuff like that, it's great.
Yeah.
So, Elite Dangerous definitely want to play in VR. Such a shame they never got that working on PlayStation VR. Otherwise, I don't think you'd ever switch it off.
And that new Star Wars Rogue Squadron, is it? It's going to be in VR, isn't it? That'd be pretty cool.
You could actually play Star Wars Battlefront on a level in VR as well.
Oh, okay. I'd like that. No, I'd definitely play those ones.
Yeah.
But I'd say motion sickness, the speed you're going at would be, you'd have to be careful of that, like.
Yeah, but the motion sickness, from what I can gather, is all to do with the number of refreshes of the screen.
Yeah.
I think that the general consensus is you don't get the motion sickness if you're 60 hertz or above. So, okay, Justin?
Yeah, do you think the news that Microsoft has discounted the Xbox One is a clear sign that the Xbox Lockhart or Series S is going to be priced at a similar level to the Xbox One, 350, 370 level?
Yeah, particularly he's looking at the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
I think that what will happen is that the Lockhart will come later.
Yeah.
And I think that will replace the S.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And I think that the Series S will replace the S. And I think that the Series X will replace the One X. And I think it'll be pretty similar in price.
Their branding, it's still a little bit confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be about 450 quid for a Series X. I think that Microsoft will deliberately price point themselves to undercut PlayStation and take the hit.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one then. Neil McBain, what's your go-to gaming snack?
I'm very boring. Apples dusted in cinnamon. I always eat that when I'm playing. I have a bowl in front of me now. Just apples cut into wedges and you into a bag, and you have a teaspoon of cinnamon. Shake it and then eat away. It's lovely. Not very exciting. Sorry, Neil.
No, I have to admit mine is. It really depends upon what it is that I feel like at the time.
Okay. Oh, what's in the cupboard?
Yeah. What can I get quickly normally? and what will mean that it will have to have minimal hand movements in order to keep my fingers on the controllers.
as I said to my wife, if it's in the house, it's in your mouth.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. Okay, well, thanks, guys, for the questions.
Yeah, great questions.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, Alan, do you want to do your contact details?
No problem. Twitter is at Head Chef Alan. Xbox and PSN is both Chef Alan, and the email is gingergamer@yahoo.com.
Okay, and all of mine is HERJUK. That'll work for YouTube, Twitter, PSN, Xbox Live, and Steam. If you want to do it on Epic, then look for Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget that you can follow the show, Pop Culture Gamer, on Twitter. There is also our Facebook group. There is also our Facebook page. You can email any inquiries to podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk, and our website, popculturegamers.podbean.com. And also, the normal thing that we always say at the end of every show as well is, don't forget, if you want to support the show, you can either donate some money through Patreon to chip in for keeping the hosting going, or if you don't want to do that, then just promote the show, put it into other groups, let people know about it, tell your friends, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So other than that, that's it. So Alan, it's been a pleasure doing the show with you again.
Thanks very much. It's been great to be back.
Yeah.
Sorry I had more stuff to talk about, but hopefully now the next few weeks or months I'll be able to catch up and stuff.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be able to be able to, get you back on a little bit more regular once things start.
Yeah, like I said, I do feel bad when I'm not there the weeklies, but it's just that I'm not getting home till 1 o'clock some nights, and I'm gone again at 7 in the morning.
Yeah, so it's difficult.
I have to make hay while the sun shines, as they say.
Absolutely, completely understand. Hope you guys have all enjoyed it, and all I can say is it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him, and it's a slán from me.
Good night.
Night.